He noticed when he received quick blows to his side, a small kick to the ankle and a fist to his face, the latter sending him crashing into a tree. Lee settled into his Gakuen stance, his guard up. Kitamaru wiped away some of the blood that ran down the corner of his mouth. He is very good at Taijutsu, I suppose it will be at long distance. Kitamaru noticed the explosion that occurred a few meters away from them. Oh no, Taiya. Don't be distracted. Lee sent a direct blow to Kitamaru's other cheek. Lee began to hear a melody that sounded like a flute, then he began to feel confused. That sound must be some jutsu. Even in his state, he managed to raise his arms to cover himself from Kitamaru's kick. I'm sending him away. Kitamaru once again took out his bow and an arrow from his mouth and launched them towards Lee. Rock Lee moved on pure instinct, managing to avoid the blurry thing that was heading towards him. That sound is very annoying, I'm tired of jutsus of that style. He. Kiyomi began to search for the girl with her gaze. So now you're hiding, you should already know that your Jinjutsu won't work because of my Sharingan. I know, but what do you think of this? Taiya thought, still in her hiding place, beginning to change her melody to a more rhythmic one. One of Taiya's dokas appeared trying to hit Kiyomi with his mallet. The Uchiha jumped and made hand seals. Kaiten. Hasenka no Jutsu. Several fireballs came out towards Doki, who received them without even trying to dodge them. The smoke dispersed sharply as the giant tried to hit Kiyomi once again. The girl replaced herself with a log, avoiding the range of the attack. That demon doesn't seem to be harmed. I guess he'll leave once I defeat his summoner. I should practice Shunshin with Naruto after this. The girl thought. Taiya sharpened her melody. The Doki opened its mouth, letting out a kind of ghost with a serpentine shape and a large mouth with fangs. They began to fly over the terrain until they fell abruptly on the bush where Kiyomi was hidden. The Uchiha jumped away from the attack. I can see you finally, Kiyomi located Taiya. Raiden, Jibashi, she extended her hands towards the reed, but the giant landed in front of her, reliving the attack. This is going to be more difficult than I thought. Rock Lee was avoiding Kitamaru's dates as best he could, some of them had already managed to graze his skin, causing scratches. He had to find a way to get close to the other nin once again. Apparently, the jutsu that kept him married was letting it work, since I could already see how before. However, he saw the great giant that began to attack Kiyomi, and those things that he had thrown out of his mouth were also attacking him. Should I take them off? Lee thought, referring to his weights. No, it's easy to reach, I just have to evade its attacks. Kiyomi was dodging Taiya's Doki attacks until she realized something. And Sasuke? She asked herself, she thought they had it, she started to look around, but this cost her because the Doki sent a big punch to her, who received the blow with everything. He closed his eyes from the pain, but he placed his feet firmly on the ground and grabbed the fist with his arms. Her Sharingan shone, indicating the effort she was making. Her feet began to dig into the ground while she was still being dragged. Finally he stopped. He built up chakra into his fist and sent the attack at Doki, who retracted his fist. Kiyomi unsealed some kunai and began to tie them with ninja wire. He directed his gaze towards Rock Lee and Kitamaru. Lee looked at what the girl was doing and nodded. Kiyomi turned her gaze elsewhere, locating a kind of box in the middle of some bushes. There it is, we have to finish them now. Kiyomi threw the kunai and shuriken towards Taiya, who told her Doki to stand in front of her, serving as a shield. However, some kunai collided with others, diverting their trajectory. Kiyomi moved her fingers handling the kunai, with force she pulled the wires, attracting the kunai that became tangled in the Doki. Rock Lee quickly approached Kitamaru, dodging his arrows. It hit the spider just as it was trying to reload its ammunition. He hit him several times, causing him to cover himself as he slowly backed away towards Kiyomi. Once he was close enough, Kiyomi gave the signal for Lee to move away. Reed. Get covered. Lee jumped and hid behind a tree. Raiden Chidori Nagashi. Kiyomi's body was covered by rays that shot in all directions, emitting the sound of the chirping of thousands of birds. The Doki was hit by the lightning at the same time as Kitamaru, who screamed in pain, while the giant did not seem to make a sound. The two were paralyzed. Taiya's Doki fell to her knees, she was helpless, just like Kitamaru at this moment. Kiyomi went through hand seals while Lee removed the bandages from her arms. Kaiten Amit Renji, each one thought about his attack. Lee moved at high speed and appeared in front of Kitamaru, kicking him with the sole of his foot right on the chin. When Kitamaru was in the air, Lee appeared on his back. Ryuka no Jutsu. Kiyomi sent the great torrent of fire towards Taiya. The current was going very fast and she wouldn't have time to dodge it. However, Lee could see Kitamaru being snatched from his hands, while Kiyomi's jutsu seemed to hit, but when it ended, Taiya could not be seen. Lee landed next to Kiyomi. What happened? Don't know. Suddenly, Kabuto appeared on the branch of the tree with a box that had Sasuke, and next to him was a white-haired guy with long hair tied in a ponytail, while two large locks were tied by two red accessories. He was wearing a lilac-colored shirt with long flared sleeves, and apparently the part of his torso was open. Black pants with white bandages on the ankles. Jade green eyes and 2 red dots on his forehead. Kabuto, but who is the other one? Kiyomi asked herself. You guys are really careless. Look at having to save them from 2 leaf genins. Tei and Kitamaru appeared beneath them. TSK, shut up 4 eyes. The Redeed shouted. It seems like those 2 are dangerous. Lee said. Kiyomi nodded. Wait, isn't that the boy who gave us information in the Chunin exams? It's a long story, I'm just telling you that he is allied with Orochimaru. Well, now it's 4 against 2. I don't think so, friend, we can't waste time, Orochimaru-sama needs a new body. That. Once again, Kabuto told what Orochimaru wanted to do with Sasuke. Kiyomi clenched her fists as her fury increased. Well, we have to go, goodbye Kabuto, and the guy next to him disappeared into the trees. Lee and Kiyomi tried to follow them, but Tei and Kitamaru got in their way. Damn, if we don't move forward they will take him, Kiyomi thought. However, she noticed something, a shadow that was happy behind Tei. Apparently the girl also noticed and jumped away from the shadow. I recognize that, the Redeed thought. Air palm. They heard Niji's voice from the trees as a rapidly traveling gust of air crashed into Kitamaru's chest, causing him to spit out some blood. It's Shikamaru and Niji. Lee said with a smile. Looks like they're in trouble, how about they move fast and catch up with those 2 before it becomes a hassle. They're moving very fast in that direction. Niji pointed to a part of the forest. Are you sure? Kiyomi asked, worried about her companions. The sound ones were not easy. We know the priority in this mission, it is important to recover the new leader of the Uchiha clan. Niji said. What a pain, just trust us, okay. Go. Shikamaru said. Guys, thank you. Kiyomi and Lee jumped in the direction that Niji had pointed before. We have to separate them, Niji said. Yes, I'll take the flutist, I'm sure you can handle the spider. Niji nodded. How did they find us? Tei asked. That boy, the one with the wide eyes, seems to be able to see long distances, so much so that he could see Kabuto and Kimimaro. They must have heard the ravages of our battle and discovered the direction. Observer, but this one ends now. Niji launched himself against Kitamaru, who stopped his blow. Tei jumped away from the battle, but Shikamaru extended his shadow trying to reach them, making her retreat much further. You stay here, I'll make her retreat further, Shikamaru said. I don't think so. Kitamaru jumped and threw a web towards Shikamaru. That thing, it's made of chakra, Niji thought, so I can cut it. He joined his fingers, making a cut with his hand, destroying Kitamaru's web. That. TSK. Kitamaru began to throw webs towards Niji, who cut them as he approached. When he was close enough, he hit Kitamaru's shoulder with his palm. Hey. It hurts a lot, but there's something else, this guy has a special taijutsu. Kitamaru kept trying to dodge Niji's blows, occasionally having to block them if he didn't want to be hit completely. Niji grabbed Kitamaru's arm and hit him with 2 of his fingers. The Odo Nin felt a sting. What are you doing? The spider took as much distance as he could, dodging several air palms sent by Niji. It seems that boy took Tei, and now it's just me and him left. Kitamaru took a great distance. Well, I guess we'll have to win separately. From now on, Shikamaru and Niji's battles will be the same. I suppose you have already realized that in this story, everyone is a little stronger. However, the battles only change in that Shikamaru does manage to hang Tei, and well, Niji ends up just as injured, but he will continue on the mission. You will see it below. This will be a long chapter. The next battle occurs at the same time as that of Shikamaru and Niji. With a Naruto clone. He continued advancing quickly, reaching what seemed to be a cliff in a rock valley. Passing through all that, there was a river. Naruto felt Seiken's presence nearby, so he crouched down and placed a finger on the ground, trying to feel his exact location. He closed his eyes. About 30 meters to the right, Naruto looked up. Some dense black clouds were approaching in the distance. It looks like it's going to rain very hard. Finish that guy quickly, remember that with every second that passes. The Kyuubi was interrupted. Yes, I know. You don't have to repeat it to me, I've said it a lot today. Well, what are you waiting for? Naruto took out a kunai with a paper bomb and threw it at a rock. The paper bomb exploded. Naruto turned towards the front of the explosion where Seiken appeared. So you managed to get past Jirobo, huh? I guess you're strong. Seiken activated his cursed mark, causing another pattern of black marks to spread across his skin. I wonder what kind of ability you have. That veil on your back must be the answer. Oh well, the other one just had super strength. I don't know if you are much. You will regret. Seiken charged towards Naruto, extending his fist, which was easily stopped. Learn once and for all, it won't be easy to attack me head on. Naruto placed a kick on Seiken's stomach. After he composed himself, he tried to hit again. Naruto crouched down and sent another blow to the side, making Seiken double. Naruto and Hall began to send blows to each other, Naruto demonstrating his superiority, beginning to aim for the pressure points. "You're stubborn, you see you can't beat me," and Taijutsu Naruto hit Seiken in the face, sending him backwards. In the blink of an eye, Naruto appeared doing a low kick and then finishing it off with a kick to the face, right on the cheek. Seiken crawled on the ground. Raiten, Amigamu. Naruto put his hands on the ground and suddenly a large amount of lightning spread out in the form of a spiderweb, reaching Seiken on the ground. "Damn, it hasn't even been 5 minutes of battle and I'm almost finished. I have to resort to the last thing." Seiken's black mark spread throughout the body, covering it in an orange glow. Here it comes, the second phase of the cursed mark. Naruto activated his Sharingan. Salon was now red-black sclera, his hair was the same, but he had a large horn on his forehead. Seiken lunged at Naruto and tried to hit him, but the Uchiha apparently disappeared. Naruto reappeared in front of Seiken and punched him in the face. Another Naruto appeared sweeping his legs, and finally another Naruto appeared falling from the sky and crashing his foot into the stomach. Seiken spat blood. What's happening? Are they shadow clones? His idea was gone as he realized that the other two Narutos disappeared out of nowhere, joining the body of the original Naruto. Were they images? But if they hit, what were those things? Shunshin level 3 Naruto had thought. Seiken got up as best he could and hid behind a rock. Kaiten. Gakakyu no Jutsu. Naruto expelled a large sphere of flames towards the rock. The rock was destroyed, but Seiken was not found. Naruto raised his arm, covering himself from Seiken's blow. Apparently you are not good at no jutsu or genjutsu, so you prefer to avoid it. However, Naruto was almost caught off guard as he watched another Seiken attack him. Kage Bunshin. Well, it won't do you much good. Naruto kicked the new Seiken, but it didn't break and caught his leg. Hey. Hehe. Naruto heard Seiken laugh, now he had realized that he did not have his veil on his back. That's not a Kage Bunshin, that's my brother, Yukin. Seiken tried to hit Naruto, but he disappeared into crows. Genjutsu. I looked him in the eyes by mistake. Seiken undid the genjutsu. I see, so your body was united with your brother's, are you an experiment of Orochimaru? Something like that, a special jutsu. Maybe my body is not the only one that my brother and I can possess. What do you mean? Just watch. Naruto blocked Seiken and Yukin's blow. Yukin tried to kick, but Naruto jumped and extended his legs, kicking each of them, Uchiha style. Naruto gave a high kick to Seiken's chin, sending him flying. Calculating his fall, Naruto put his hands in a half-ram seal. Right where Seiken was going to fall, a shadow clone appeared and began to shine. Shit, Seiken thought, covering himself. Ninpo. Bunshin Daibakuha. The clone exploded, finishing off Seiken. Brother. Yukin got angry and attacked Naruto with everything. The Uchiha blocked his blow easily. I have to end this quickly. Seiken rose from the ground holding one arm. Naruto picked up Yukin and slammed him to the ground. He looked into Seiken's eyes as his Sharingan spun. Meijin. Kasagi. Seiken felt as if rock struts were piercing him. He screamed in pain and was paralyzed. Chidori. So the sound of the bird's trill was present, the Chidori in Naruto's hand, extended until it pierced Seiken's shoulder. It seems that he manages to move a little. Unfortunate. Yukin grabbed Naruto's arm, causing him to retract his jutsu, attempting an attack with his fists, both being stopped by Naruto. He struggled, but Naruto was much stronger. It doesn't matter if there are 2 or more of you, 2 times 0 is always 0. Naruto jumped and landed in front of Yukin, who pulled out a kunai. Damn it. Yukin approached at maximum speed and cut Naruto's chest. There you go. However, it seemed strange to him that he would get it right so easily. It's a genjutsu. He undid it, but the blood on his hand was still there until he realized that the body at his feet was not Naruto, but Seiken. Brother. Yukin crouched down and saw his brother dead and with a large wound on both his chest and shoulder. Wow, so you made him believe that you were his brother and you made him kill him. He's ruthless, I like him, Kurama said. It was an easy way to finish them. Now there's only one left and it's easy, just let's finish this. Naruto opened his palm, a perfect Rasengan forming. I'll kill you. You bastard. Yukin shouted. Yes sure. A silver flash appeared. Yukin only felt his stomach being hit hard as his flesh churned. A large sphere of energy sent him spiraling as he was sent flying, finally crashing into the forest. It's over for you. Naruto looked up at the sky then disappeared in a burst of smoke. Naruto was jumping through the trees when his clone's memories came back. They're easier than I thought. I wondered what happened so that Sasuke couldn't beat them. Anyway, you can go to your friends now, right? Kurama asked. Yeah. With Kiyomi and Rock Lee, a few moments before Lee and Kiyomi had managed to spot the 2 Atagakur ninjas, following them to a gigantic clearing. The 2 ninjas stopped. They are fast. You must be careful, the girl is the other Uchiha and she is also quite good. The other does not have ninjutsu or genjutsu, but is exceptional in taijutsu. Kamimura nodded. He shouldn't take long to arrive, unfortunately it was time to change bodies and he didn't have his vessel, so he had to take a temporary body. Kabuto and Kimimaro. They left Sasuke behind them in some bushes. Lee, who are you going to take? I'm going for the new one. Well, Kabuto is potentially dangerous, we still don't know what the other one can do, be careful. Yeah. Rock Lee jumped into the air and landed in front of Kimimaro with his battle pose. The battle of Rock Lee versus Kimimaro is almost the same, only this time Rock Lee has not just come out of an operation and can fight it as 100%, I will add a little more, but now let's go with a different. Kiyomi landed in front of Kabuto. So you're the girl of the group, I hope you put up a good fight. Don't underestimate me. Kiyomi stood in a battle pose. Since I'm not going to do it, the only one of the 3 remaining Uchihas who is not in the eyes of Orochimaru-sama. And doesn't not being in that crazy man's sights make me strong? Why do you think that Naruto or Sasuke are? Orochimaru-sama is a shinobi with a lot of experience, he knows about Sasuke's potential, not to mention Naruto's, unfortunately, he is out of reach, we had to go for the second option. Don't talk about them as if they were just tools for Orochimaru. Hey. And after all, what are shinobis? They are tools for their people, they fight and die for it. But it's our decision. It is not always. I don't have time to talk. Kiyomi launched herself at Kabuto who covered her hands with chakra. That thing, I already read about that. Kiyomi stopped in the middle. They are chakra scalpels. They are like scalpels, I must be careful. So you're not coming? Well, I'm going. Kabuto ran at high speed towards Kiyomi. He dodged everything with his Sharingan and occasionally threw punches dodged by Kabuto. It's very difficult to hit it but it won't exceed my speed. Kiyomi did backflips and went through hand seals. Chidori. Senbon. I launched the lightning needles. Kabuto also made evasive maneuvers. Try to keep me away. I deactivate his scalpels and go through hand seals. Kaiten. Enden. Kabuto launched a giant fire bullet. Kiyomi jumped over the jutsu since it did not have as much range as the Gakakyu no jutsu. However, she was surprised to see how Kabuto appeared in front of her with his scalpels active. He had no choice but to avoid further damage. He covered his face and chest with his arms, with just the touch of Kabuto, he could feel his flesh being cut and torn. She fell to the ground and rolled, preventing the glasses ninja from falling on her. He quickly stood up grabbing one arm, a green glow began to appear on his hand trying to heal his wounds. The damage it does is quite big, if it manages to hit me in the chest and stomach, it will be a big problem. What's happening? That's all you can give? Kabuto scoffed. So that's how it is, isn't it? Well, let's continue. When Kiyomi was able to move his arm again, he continued his battle with Kabuto. Lee was fighting a great opponent and he sincerely believed that he could be doing better with someone else. Kimimaro was from the Kagaya clan, this is an ancient clan that was wiped out and apparently he was the last survivor. The Kagaya clan had the strange ability to be able to generate bones quickly and also remove them from their own body to use them as a weapon. Lee felt that when he hit Kimimaro's skin, he did not receive the slightest damage. Once they were separated, Lee was able to see a scene that he wished he could erase from his mind. The skin on Kimimaro's shoulder seemed to open, revealing the boy's living flesh. From the thick mass of tissue, a pure blasé bone emerged. Kimimaro grabbed it with his hand and pulled it completely out of his body. After that, the hole in his heel shoulder. The bone had another one attached to it, this last one had a sharp tip, it was some kind of sword or tanto made of bones. Okay, I have to be careful with that. Kimimaro launched himself against Lee, who dodged the cuts he gave. The Leaf Ninja performed backflips, the Odo Nim jumped and tried to stab Lee as he came down. But Lee was able to dodge the stab, letting Kimimaro's weapon bury itself in the ground. Lee tried to kick, but Kimimaro covered himself with his arms, certainly, that seemed to hurt Rock Lee more than his rival. Kimimaro grabbed his sword and tried to cut Rock Lee, who jumped up. Kimimaro stood up and pointed his finger at Rock Lee, at the tip of his finger, a small white mass appeared, it shot at high speed towards the ninja in the air. Rock Lee felt something pierce his shoulder, he landed holding the injured part. He removed his hand, observing what looked like a small white stake. Did you throw me a bone? Rock Lee was shocked. Kimimaro appeared in front of him and then a big kick to his face, taking advantage of the fact that he was crouched down. Rock Lee crawled on the ground but got up as best he could. I guess I can't get it out that easily, it's a pain, my arm hurts a lot. He turned his gaze seeing how Kiyomi was fighting hard with Kabuto. The girl kicked Orochimaru's subordinate in the stomach and then released an electric current. She is fighting hard to save her brother. I look a little more seeing the wound on her arm even hurt, that's young, I must fight that way too, I won't give up so easily. Rock Lee pulled down the leg warmers he had on. Now I must save an important person for my friends. He took off his weights, letting them fall to the floor, causing them to make their peculiar noise, cracking the floor. I can't take that thing off my shoulder anymore, it will be a bother, but now I'm going to give it my all. Rock Lee disappeared in a blur, appearing in front of Kimimro. Amidst fast Kimimro stretched out his sword, Rock Lee tilted his head, with great skill he managed to deflect the goal using his fists. He quickly sent a blow to Kimimro's stomach. He did not flinch, he sent a knee, but Lee disappeared and appeared again behind him. He didn't fall for the trick again, he jumped away from the attack of Rock Lee, who jumped following his trajectory. Lee started throwing really hard punches towards Kimimro. He's as fast as a Jonin at least. Lee kicked Kimimro to the ground. Lee fell in front of him and continued sending acrobatic kicks, Kimimro retreated, dodging the blows. Lee managed to land several blows, but as had happened before, Kimimro didn't seem to care, he felt as if his skin was too tough. How is it possible, his skin is hard like a then he finally realized. This guy can create bones, so under his skin. I guess you already realize Kimimro addressed Rock Lee under my skin there is a layer of bones, protecting me from internal damage. To tell the truth, it is a good defense, but even bones can be broken. However, it is already known to me that my current strength is not enough. Rock Lee separated from Kimimro and stood in an X-arm pose. The fact that I can create bones guarantees that when I break its defense, it will regenerate its inner layer, so by increasing my strength, I must also increase my speed, I have no choice if I want to win this battle. Hachiman Tonkum came in. Rock Lee felt the contraction in his muscles. Kai Kimimro prepared for Lee's assault. However, he only felt the blow land. He became faster under his gaze observing Lee's fist in his stomach. Rock Lee wasted no time and continued hitting Kimimro without him being able to defend himself. He finished off with a strong blow to the chin, sending Kimimro flying. He spun in the air and landed on his feet. I grab his chest, feeling some pain. It is more than clear that I managed to crack it, I have to be more careful. Rock Lee watched as Kimimro had strange black marks appear all over his body. It can't be he also has the cursed mark. I may be rushing, but I can't risk it. Rock Lee disappeared and appeared extending his leg to kick Kimimro, but bones emerged from his chest that trapped Lee's foot, while the tips managed to slightly pierce his skin. Lee closed his eyes and tried to remove his foot, but he couldn't. Your speed is incredible, but I have to finish this now. He grabbed his sword and tried to stab Lee, but he gained momentum, and hanging from the bones of his attacker, Lee launched a kick with his other leg hitting Kimimro's face. The momentum that separated them helped him remove his foot. I have to be careful with that from now on, Lee thought. It seems that it really is just a jutsu, with just that, I have an advantage in this fight, he can no longer take the liberty of hitting me all the time. Kimimro thought. Kimimro made pointed bones appear all over his body. I guess it will be more difficult. Rock Lee approached at high speed trying to hit Kimimro, hitting the places where there were no bones protruding. The other ninja attempted to cut with his sword. Rock Lee crouched down and hit the bone weapon with his foot, taking the weapon away from his enemy. It didn't help much, Kimimro made 2 bones protrude from the palms of his hands. Rock Lee dodged the ninja's cuts, took out a kunai and blocked the bone of Kimimro's right hand. He tried to attack with his other arm, but Lee grabbed his wrist skillfully. Kimimro made a large bone appear on his knees trying to stab Lee. The spandex ninja was forced to back away. Lee pulled out another kunai, grabbing both of his weapons in a reverse grip. I must look for an opening, so perhaps I can execute the Amit wrench. Kimimro jumped towards Lee and attacked with his 2 bones. Lee blocked with his kunai, also sending cuts. Lee blocked a Kimimro bone with his 2 kunai. He didn't think about it and attacked with his other arm. However, Lee disappeared in a blur and appeared behind him sweeping his legs. Kimimro fell and Lee quickly stood up. The Konoha ninja stepped on the Odo nin's hand, causing the bone to become buried in the ground. With great force, Lee delivered an axe kick to Kimimro's head, causing his forehead to hit the ground. Kimimro growled. With great force he pulled his hand out of the ground and a bone quickly came out of his side trying to impale the boy, but he managed to dodge it, while the bone managed to make him at least a scratch. Kimimro retracted his palm bone and grabbed his forehead. He placed his palm in front of his eyes, watching the blood that was now falling towards his face. I looked down, seeing slight cracks in the ground. He could have killed me, it was a thought that kept him still, a serious mistake. Rock Lee took advantage of this and appeared in front of him, delivering an upward kick to his chin. Kimimro flew and when he was in the air, Lee appeared behind him and wrapped him with his bandages. Do it quickly, before one of his bones pierces you, Lee thought to himself. Lee and Kimimro fell with great force towards the ground. Amit range at the moment of impact they generated a loud roar while cracks spread across the ground. Kabuto stopped his fight against Kiyomi, observing how there was a large screen of smoke. What happened? It doesn't seem to have been a Kimimro attack. Kabuto growled. Lee seems to be doing well. Kiyomi smiled. Lee appeared jumping out of the large smoke screen. He crouched down taking long breaths. Ugh, I hope that worked. Kimimro was on the ground. He now had large bruises on his body. It hurts. Kimimro started to get up but crouched down and rested on one of his knees. That attack is devastating, it broke every part of my layer of bones, it reached my muscles. Kimimro spit out blood, while great pain invaded his body. It seems that it affects me more and more, I have to finish this battle. He survived, but at least you can see that he is damaged, I guess having to go stronger. Lee stood up straight, at the same time as Kimimro. You are an exceptional opponent, I admit it, but my duty is to fulfill Orochimaru-sama's wishes, so I must eliminate you, no matter if my body is destroyed in the process. The black marks began to expand even more, making Kimimro's body glow orange. Now the autumn nin had brown skin, black sclera, and had large bones protecting its back, in addition to what appeared to be a tail, with bones that protruded a little from it. Are you going to give your maximum? From Kimimro's back, a bone appeared that he grabbed, beginning to pull it out of his body. The bone seemed to be long. Don't fuck with me, really, he's taking out his. Kimimro finally took out his bones, it being so long that it looked like a whip. Did he take out his spine? That is, Lee didn't have time to think. Kimimro approached at an alarming speed, trying to hit Lee with his whip. Rock Lee ducked, avoiding the blow. He started to back away, but was hit by the bone, hitting him hard. Lee backed away with his arm bleeding. It seems to pierce too, damn it. It's over. Kimimro appeared in front of Lee, with a pointed bone. Lee leaned in, but it wasn't enough. Kimimro managed to pierce Lee's stomach. It's over for you, I didn't cross any vital points, but this will be enough, it was an honor fighting you. Kabuto watched as Kimimro impaled Lee. It seems that your friend can't make it. Naomi turned her gaze, seeing the scene. No, Lee. The girl screamed her friend's name in desperation. Kimimro pulled out the bone from Lee's stomach, however, he was surprised to see Lee grab his wrist. Kikman Seiman Shimon Toman Kai Lee released a burst of chakra. Kimimro grunted as he felt his wrist break. Kimimro stepped back, grabbing his wrist. I'm sorry, but I can't allow myself to die here. I take his battle stance. But I agree with you on something, we have to finish this now. Kimimro couldn't react in time, Lee appeared in front of him, hitting him in the stomach, he flew away, crashing into a tree. It's too strong. Why do you support Orochimaru? You are a great ninja, why would you be with someone like him? He saved me, he is a good man, he gave me meaning. It seems that you are not able to see that the only thing that guy does is use them, you are another poor puppet. You do not understand. He told me that I would be able to see the light of this world through his eyes, he promised me. I believe him. Kimimro's hand began to be surrounded by bones that took the shape of a spiral. Kimimro's hand was surrounded by a bone drill. See the light through his eyes. Was Orochimaru planning to use him as a vessel? Lee thought, but shook his head, clearing those thoughts, he had a battle to finish. Lee jumped towards Kimimro, hitting him once again. This time Kimimro stayed on the ground and tried to hit the ninja with his drill, but Lee disappeared in a blur. The nail drilled into the ground thanks to its weight. Lee appeared once again, crouched, hitting Kimimro with the sole of his foot. The drill broke due to the effort it made to stay on the ground. Kimimro's back dragged along the tree trunk. The body of the Odo did not fly, detaching several leaves from the trees. Kimimro opened his eyes, Lee was already in front of him, but he couldn't do anything. Hitting hard, Lee began to send the autumn nin's body from one side to the other. Rock Lee grabbed Kimimro with his bandages, causing him to spread. This time it's my turn to make the move, eh? Naruto? Lee thought funny. Lee pulled Kimimro towards him, hitting him with his right foot and palm. Revenge, the two Kimimro and Lee fell towards the ground and collided, raising a large screen of smoke. Large pieces of smoke came out of the ground. Lee rolled out of the cloud of smoke, the strength he had barely enough to get to his knees. When the smoke dispersed, Kimimro could be seen on the ground, with a trickle of blood running down his mouth. My body hurts too much. His vision was becoming increasingly blurry. It seems that I managed to reach my vital organs, but if I am going to die, Kimimro turned his gaze towards Lee, the curse mark receding. I'm going to take you with me. Kimimro went through hand seals. Then he slammed his hands on the ground. Dance of the ferns. Lee felt the ground shake. I have to get out of here. Lee was alarmed when he saw how large bones came out of the ground around Kimimro. With the little he had, Lee began jumping and doing acrobatics to avoid the bones. It went like this for a few seconds, until Lee slipped, falling to the ground. The bones kept getting closer. Lee closed his eyes, covering himself with both arms, but he didn't feel anything. He opened his eyes. She could see the large bones stop before passing through him. I was very lucky. It was then that the adrenaline left his body. He felt a stabbing pain in his stomach, covering the wound with his hand, trying to stop the bleeding. He took some of the bandages from her hands and placed them on her torso. This will help a little, come on Lee, a little more strength and that's it. Naomi watched as Lee finished off Kimimro. I finish him, but I must hurry. It was very lucky that those bones did not reach him, but he must not be aware of his wound. I must finish Kabuto if I want to heal him. TSK, I can't believe that Kimimaro couldn't beat that loser, oh well, because of his weakness he wasn't chosen by Orochimaru-sama. Kabuto thought. His thought stopped when he received a punch from Kiyomi. Kabuto activated his scalpels and tried to cut Kiyomi. But the girl stopped her arm. Kabuto looked into the girl's eyes, I made a mistake. Now he felt that her body was not responding to him. Kiyomi sent a kick to Kabuto's stomach, who skidded backwards. Kiyomi jumped and unsealed a smoke shuriken. He threw it towards Kabuto who prepared to receive it. But the kunai turned into a veritable gale of normal shurikens covered in Raiten chakra. Kabuto jumped to the side dodging the attack, but the shuriken changed their trajectory. They have ninja wire. Kabuto did somersaults dodging the projectiles. However, thanks to the quantity, they reached it. However, it disappeared in an explosion of smoke, revealing a trunk. Kabuto appeared behind Kiyomi at a distance. Kaiten. And then he threw the large fire bullet towards Kiyomi, who was barely falling. Kiyomi was replaced with another trunk. Kabuto started looking for her everywhere. He saw a small crack open in the ground beneath her feet. He smiled and tilted his head back. Kiyomi appeared from below with her fist extended. Kabuto grabbed her wrist. Nice try. He took out a kunai and buried it in the girl's chest, but it turned into rays that electrocuted Kabuto. The subordinate felt himself burning until he felt a sharp pain in his shoulder. It was a kunai. He noticed the ninja wire tied to it. Dodge this, Kaiten. Ryuka no jutsu. Shit, Kabuto thought. The fire came out of Kiyomi's mouth and he tried to reach Kabuto, but surprisingly, a wall of earth rose up, covering him from the fire. I'm sorry, but I can't allow you to kill my dear subordinate, a new voice was heard in the clearing. Orochimaru-sama. It seems like they did it pretty well, all those bones that disappear, they were Kimimaro's technique. I don't see him here, is he dead? Orochimaru scanned the area around him. Unfortunately yes, Orochimaru-sama. Kabuto removed the kunai from his shoulder, beginning to heal the wound. It's a shame, he was a good subordinate, oh well, what can you do to him? Orochimaru spotted Kiyomi and Rock Lee. Sasuke's sister and Guy's student, maybe it's good to get rid of you now, Orochimaru said in an amused voice. Kiyomi tensed up as did Rock Lee. Damn, what was missing was that Orochimaru himself came looking for Sasuke. Meh, better not, after all I already have what I want in my hands. Kabuto, let's get out of here. Yes, Orochimaru-sama. Kabuto approached Orochimaru. A kunai flew between Orochimaru and Kabuto, sticking into the ground. The kunai had seals on its handle. What is that? Kabuto approached but was blinded by a silver flash. Instantly he felt a strong kick in his stomach, sending him flying towards a log. Orochimaru smiled with annoyance, his eye had a slight twitch. Welcome to the party, Naruto. The Uchiha stood in front of Orochimaru with his Sharingan active. Kabuto stood up and looked forward. Naruto. How do I get there so fast? I'm going to remove the obstacles. Naruto looked towards Kabuto. The bespectacled ninja screamed, clutching his chest, before fainting. It seems that your Jinjutsu has improved, it is so strong that it can feint a Jonin level ninja, huh? Don't be praising me, you and I have unfinished business. Naruto was about to move forward, but Orochimaru disappeared with great speed. He's escaping, Naruto thought, but before going for him, he checked his companions. He approached Kiyomi, who was now healing Lee. Naruto, don't you know how the others are? No, I'm going to bring them, I'm just asking Kami that they're okay. Naruto disappeared in a flash of silver. 15 seconds later, Naruto returned to Shikamaru, holding Neji with his shoulder. I hope you have practiced your medical ninjutsu, Neji is badly injured. What's wrong? Kiyomi gasped when she saw that Neji had a hole in his shoulder. Shit, I can't cure it, it's much worse than Lee's injuries, I'll need help. Naruto thought quickly and found a solution. Kiyomi, yeah? I'm going to send them to Konoha. That's right, I'll stay to fight with Orochimaru. But what if you need help? Don't worry, I can take care of myself, I've already done it before. Naruto, it's very dangerous. Naruto reached down and grabbed Kiyomi's shoulders. I swear I'll come back, with Sasuke, okay? Kiyomi could see Naruto's great determination behind his red eyes. Okay, I have to think about the well-being of the team now, right? Yes, try to communicate with Tsunade, Neji still has time to live well, good luck and please take care, okay? Kiyomi hugged her friend who gladly received her. I already swore to you. Kiyomi pulled away and kissed Naruto's forehead. He blushed and opened his eyes wide, then smiled. See you. Naruto said goodbye, grabbing Kiyomi's shoulder, who was holding Lee, and Shikamaru's shoulder, who was holding Neji. Both couples disappeared in a flash of silver, leaving only Naruto in the clearing. He turned his gaze, Kabuto was no longer there. Shit, all of Orochimaru's guys are slippery pieces of crap. Well, that's how snakes are, Kurama said when Naruto began to advance. The Uchiha used Shunshin to go faster, for some reason, he couldn't teleport to Orochimaru. It's true that guy can shed his bodies, the Horatian seal sticks to the skin, and well, basically he changes his skin whenever he wants. I sense. Drops of rain began to fall while the sky darkened thanks to the humid clouds. Naruto began to cut ground on Orochimaru until the two reached the Valley of the End, the valley where Hashirama and Madara had fought. In their honor, there were two statues of them making the seal of half a ram, separated by a waterfall. Orochimaru ran over the water until he turned and with a kunai blocked a shuriken thrown by Naruto. You caught up with me, let's stop playing games, I'm going to end this now. Orochimaru stopped his smile and then showed a serious face. If that's what you want, then come. Orochimaru jumped towards Madara's head while leaving Sasuke behind the statue. The rain intensified, Orochimaru climbed down from the statue, facing Naruto who drew his sword from his back. I hope you're prepared, because of you, I'm very angry. Naruto looked directly at Orochimaru. Well, we all have that feeling, right? Orochimaru clenched his fists preparing to fight. I take out a kunai. The rain seemed to get stronger as Naruto closed his eyes, taking a deep breath as he placed his sword in front of him, gripping the handle with both hands. The trees were moving aggressively, a leaf broke off and began to fall. Orochimaru placed the kunai in front of his face, held in a reverse grip. The leaf was getting closer to the water, spinning thanks to the strong winds that swept it. Finally, the blade fell into the water, spreading slight ripples thanks to its light impact. Naruto opened his eyes wide. The two combatants began to run towards each other. His feet raising light drops of water, generating more waves. The sound of splashing seemed to be more intentional than the sound of air droplets colliding with a large mass of water. Everything seemed to go in slow motion, but in reality, everything was very fast. The Sannin and the Jonin clashed their weapons, releasing light sparks as a large bolt of lightning fell from the sky. The sound of metal against metal resonated with a great echolocation. Valley of the End, border of the country of fire. The rain seemed to fall with more intensity. The Valley of the End was the place where a battle was taking place between two shinobi. One was greedy to the point of being crazy in the eyes of others, he simply wanted to know everything, and for that he needed the other shinobi's friend, someone who only wanted to save his friend at any cost. For his happiness and the happiness of more people who were now waiting in a safe place. In Madara Uchiha's head, Orochimaru was breathing deeply, keeping his hands resting on his knees, looking down at the cliff behind the statues. Naruto kept his face, he was kneeling. Naruto's ninja band began to slide towards his forehead, falling a little later, however, the Uchiha's hand held it before he touched the ground. He watched coldly as a few drops of blood fell on his ninja band next to his hand. She placed his band on the ground and brought her hand to his face, his left side was completely covered in blood, while his eye was closed. Shit, it was the only thing he could think. I just hope it hasn't gone further. I guess I'm the one who has the advantage. Orochimaru spoke, with his Kusanagi sword on the ground. At first glance he didn't seem to have any injuries, however his breathing was an obvious sign that fatigue was approaching. Naruto didn't breathe like Orochimaru, to tell the truth, his breathing seemed to be calm, now he had to stay calm, at all times. The rain began to clean the blood, little by little showing his almost pale skin. Her eye, still closed, now had a scar over hers, cutting into her eyebrow. You can't let that happen again. A thick voice was heard in his mind. It was the Kyuubi. Kurama, you're lucky I'm here, that sword contained a great poison, if you didn't retreat in 15 minutes, you could be in a near-death state, I'm pushing it as hard as I can. Thank you Kurama, I'm not surprised, he's Orochimaru, he's not a Sannin for nothing. Naruto ran his hand over his eye, feeling the scar. She lowered his hand, and with some suspense he opened her eye. He sighed when he saw that he was still there, his sharingan spinning slowly. I would never forgive myself for losing the light that my mother's eyes gave me. He looked down at his ninja band, picked it up and pressed it to his chest. I'm going to have to use it. Orochimaru watched in suspense as Naruto raised his hands, placing the ninja band right on his forehead. Once it was in place, he tied the knot and then tightened it tightly as he opened his eyes, his sharingan spinning rapidly as the pattern began to change. Naruto's manjikyu glowed with fury, dangerously observing the snake Sannin. Get ready, I'm serious. Present. The clash of sword and kunai made a roar as sparks flew. Naruto could feel a wave of energy passing through his entire body, and his muscles went numb for a second. He did not let himself be carried away by surprise, and began to send cut after cut. Orochimaru blocked each of the attacks with great mastery. The snake made an upward cut, making Naruto step back. He didn't give her any rest, he quickly slid through the water, and in less than a second he pulled out another kunai, and rushed to fight with a double reverse grip. With agile movements of his forearm and elbow, Naruto swung his shakudo, blocking the Sannin's continuous attacks. Do you know something? I have to admit that you have improved a lot in such a short time, since we saw each other in the Chunin exam. Orochimaru spoke while fighting with Naruto, turning on his axis with his arms outstretched, making an attack with his great strength and speed. Naruto carefully rested his other hand on the blade of his shakudo, making his posture strengthen. Orochimaru continued spinning and landed a kick to the Uchiha's leg, then gave another roundhouse kick to Naruto's stomach, pushing him back. He wasted no time and followed, stretching his arm once more with the kunai facing forward, trying to reach the Naruto's front. The Sharingan followed him quickly, turning on its axis dodging Orochimaru's attack. He did not stop and stretched his arms trying to make a horizontal cut. The Sannin was surprised, but with great reflexes, he managed to stop the attack with his other kunai. Passing underneath of his other arm, Naruto took advantage of Orochimaru's stance and delivered a quick knee and then cut him in half, but Orochimaru turned into mud. Naruto did a backflip, avoiding Orochimaru's attack that came out of the water. Orochimaru threw his kunai trying to hit it, since Naruto was still straightening up from his previous action. The kunai managed to hit the back of Naruto's head, however, the Uchiha turned into a log. I knew I had to prepare a replacement, that guy is pretty smart. Naruto was now in Hashirama's head. Orochimaru was running at high speed up the statue. It's going very fast. Naruto raised his sword blocking the Sannin. It's obvious that Jiraiya has trained you, what a nuisance. Naruto blocked the Sannin's attacks once again. You know, once I have the body of your beloved companion, I would like to fight you again. I already told you. Naruto noticed a slight opening in Orochimaru's defense. He couldn't hit it with the sword, so he sent a blow that quickly hit the Sannin's stomach, who spit out saliva. You're not going to have Sasuke's body. Now he tried to cut, but Orochimaru managed to block it. He slid his kunai along the blade of the sword, trying to attack the Uchiha's hand. Naruto retreated, but used his Shunshin to quickly appear in front of the snake. Orochimaru blocked his blow, but Naruto landed a kick. The snake jumped back falling towards the waterfall. Naruto threw the sword towards Orochimaru. What is he doing throwing his weapon that way? The Sannin thought, well, it doesn't matter, it's more of an advantage for me with great force. He blocked the sword and deflected it upwards. He looked ahead trying to spot the Uchiha, but he was no longer there. Then he looked up, realizing that the Uchiha had the sword in his hands once again. Did he teleport? Orochimaru thought confused. Naruto threw his weapon again, but this time before it touched Orochimaru, it flashed, appearing once again in front of the Sannin. Naruto began to send cuts, forcing Orochimaru to block them all, since they were still in the air and it was impossible for him to dodge. Naruto managed to kick the Sannin, causing him to fall towards the water. He managed to spin around to compose himself. However, he had to move to avoid a gigantic fireball. The collision between the flames and the water resulted in a large curtain of steam. I have to go out, he has the advantage in the fog. Orochimaru left the fog curtain, but Naruto appeared in a Shunshin and tried to cut him off. Orochimaru placed his kunai in front of him, but was surprised to see how the metal was cut cleanly by Naruto's Shakudo. A cloak of wind. The Sannin was surprised to see how a kind of yellow cloak surrounded the Uchiha's sword. Futon. Shinkijin, Naruto thought. He wasted no time and began to send cut after cut to weaken Orochimaru, who couldn't believe that small cuts began to appear on his body. The range of his jutsu is great. Orochimaru stepped back, made a ram seal, his mouth opened in unusual proportions. It was then that a sea of snakes came out of his mouth and were thrown towards Naruto. Naruto lunged forward and made horizontal and vertical cuts, while his Sharingan worked at full speed. He got closer and closer to Orochimaru, cutting his snakes in half. Naruto turned as small gusts of wind began to accompany him, cutting the animals. Orochimaru took advantage of the fact that Naruto's vision was saturated by the thousands of snakes and launched himself towards him with a big punch. Naruto managed to see the Sannin for a moment, however he was not fast enough to stop the blow that hit him in the stomach. Naruto crawled through the water, he couldn't block Orochimaru's kick who seemed to descend from the sky. Now the Uchiha was underwater holding his breath. He watched in disbelief as Orochimaru approached easily at high speed. He covered himself with his arms, trying to resist the onslaught of the Odo ninja. Orochimaru passed by and attacked again from another direction. Orochimaru began to hit Naruto cleanly and then finished his combo with a strong blow to his chin, making him come out of the water as if it were a bullet. Taking a long breath, Naruto went through hand seals. Futon. Shinkajyoku. Naruto. Released several compressed air bullets that passed through Orochimaru. The Sannin's body fell into the water, but his body seemed to become part of the Great Lake. Naruto felt the Sannin's presence in one of the statues. Suiton. Suiton no Jutsu. Orochimaru sent several water bullets. Kaiten. Hasenka no Jutsu. Naruto sent several small fireballs. The projectiles of the opposing elements collided. Once again creating a curtain of steam. Orochimaru saw how the mist moved and then saw several shuriken and kunai. He jumped to dodge the attacks. However, the projectiles changed direction attacking him. Small rays could be seen coming out of the weapons. Ninja wire, TSK. Orochimaru went through hand seals. Futon. Datapa. Orochimaru sent a large gust of wind that completely deflected the projectiles. Naruto appeared on top of Orochimaru trying to make a downward cut. The Sannin extended his arm. Several snakes emerged from the sleeve of his shirt that coiled around Naruto at great speed. Raiden. Chidori Nagashi. Naruto. Expelled a large burst of rays electrocuting the snakes, but he forgot something, his body was wet, the rays reached part of his skin, burning him a little. I should be more careful with the Raiden jutsus, Naruto said to himself. He looked forward watching Orochimaru go through hand seals. Orochimaru's mouth opened wide. Another Orochimaru came out of the mouth of the original, the difference was that the new one did not seem to have legs, its body resembled that of a snake, however it still had arms. This Orochimaru opened its mouth from which the blade of a sword emerged. Naruto raised his sword, covering himself from the great attack of the Sannin. The force was so much that he could not stay in the same place, his feet began to be dragged by the water. Naruto was sliding, raising water with his feet, he turned his gaze, observing that they were heading to the feet of one of the statues. At this rate I'm going to hit the rock. Naruto used a lot of his strength to try to deflect the blade of the sword, in the process, lifting Orochimaru's face a little. He gave a growl, raising the sword, also raising Orochimaru's body. Naruto jumped towards the statue, sticking his feet into it. Orochimaru quickly changed direction, heading once again towards Naruto. Now the Uchiha's feet were dragging on the smooth stone the statue was made of. Shit, once again in the situation as best he could, Naruto grabbed his sword with only one hand, while with the other he made half a ram seal. A shadow clone appeared and moved away from the path of the attack, then hit the middle of the snake's body, sending it flying. The clone grabbed the original's hand and threw it towards Orochimaru. The Sannin opened his mouth from which Orochimaru in his normal form emerged at great speed, almost as if he had spit him out. He punches Naruto in the face, grabs his arm and throws him into the water. He fell at high speed and hit the water hard, however he did not sink, he quickly passed through hand seals. Pain. Ryuken no Jutsu. Naruto sent a large volley of fire upwards, aiming towards the Sannin, however, Orochimaru had already been going through a large sequence of seals. Suiton. Suryudan no Jutsu. From the water itself a large torrent arose that took the shape of a large dragon with bright and threatening yellow eyes. The water creature collided with a large blast of fire, eliminating it completely and heading towards Naruto. His jutsu has great strength. Naruto threw a kunai towards the leg of a statue. The moment the dragon collided with his position, Naruto appeared flashing in the previously thrown kunai. I must come up with a plan. Naruto crouched down, spinning the Hiraishin kunai in one of his fingers. Orochimaru was trying to spot his opponent. To tell the truth, he was surprised that Naruto could defend himself so well. He had even managed to land a couple of blows. In addition, there was something that worried him. If he kept using jutsus to stop Naruto, in the event that Naruto manages to damage him too much, he will only be able to change his skin at least twice. The skin replacement jutsu used up too much chakra, he should not let his guard down. This time I will be the one who wins, Naruto. He pulled out a kunai quickly, raised his arm blocking the kunai that was coming towards him. The weapon was deflected upwards, however, Naruto appeared grabbing the kunai, lowered his leg, quickly nailing an axe kick, he passed through hand seals quickly. Futon. Renkuden. Naruto puffed out his chest and launched a large air bullet that hit Orochimaru. The Sannin was thrown backward sinking into the water, however he wasted no time and came out of the water, a kunai passed next to his face. Was it a normal kunai? Are you trying to confuse me? Naruto went through hand seals once again, this time he accumulated much more chakra. Kaiten. Kikakyu no Jutsu. Naruto. Released a large sphere of fire with a strong reddish color, indicating that he was stronger than normal. That jutsu is very easy to dodge. Orochimaru jumped away from the range of the jutsu. Shunshin. Naruto appeared in front of Orochimaru touching him on the shoulder. Wrong, child, you are mine. Orochimaru was about to touch the Uchiha, however, he was surprised to see that he was no longer in front of Naruto, but rather, in a space between the water and the Hashirama statue. What happened? Scanning around him, he realized that next to him, there was a kunai stuck in the statue. See, maybe it's the kunai I had thrown before. Should I teleport? He hadn't finished processing when he felt an enormous heat take over his body. He looked ahead, there was no time the large sphere of fire would collide with him, and it looked like it would leave quite serious burns. A large explosion could be seen from Naruto's perspective. I made it. Naruto was breathing a little hard. Once again, he felt that chakra stimulation, he felt how his body was recharged. There's some chakra for you, to tell the truth you did very well, said Kurama. Yes, thanks for the recharge. What would you do without me? You still don't have reserves as big as myth, you can't spam jutsu. Okay, don't scold me. Orochimaru came out of the smoke, he had big burns, parts of his body were completely black, the cuts had gotten worse, and he was sure that his arm was somewhat detached. His mouth opened in large proportions while inside him, another Orochimaru came out, finishing opening his mouth. The new Orochimaru was wet with a viscous liquid that was difficult to overcome by the rainwater. Damn, I can't be distracted like that again. He began to walk through the water until he saw Naruto again, who placed his sword in formation, ready for another round. This time I have a surprise for you. Once again, Orochimaru opened his mouth, but this time it didn't extend as far. Is it serious? This guy keeps so many things in his mouth. Naruto asked himself. A hilt came out of Orochimaru's mouth, he grabbed it with his hand and began to pull it out, after that a blade came out, completing the sword. When he finally pulled it out, he extended it to the front, almost as if he were showing it off. What's up, huh? This is my own special sword, Kusanagi. I recognize that sword, I use it to fight against Minato-san, apparently he can move it with his chakra, it is very dangerous. What I wonder is how he didn't cut his throat taking that thing out, or even how he kept it inside himself. Kurama speculated out loud. Hey. Anyway, I can't get distracted by that. So, my dear Naruto, are you ready for the other round? Orochimaru said it with a face that was intended to be funny, but in reality, he looked more serious than normal, at least in someone like him, who always seemed to have fun. Well, as you like, Naruto's sword was covered in lightning. Oh, a new trick. You will not like it. Location. Konohagakure no Sado, Land of Fire. Shikamaru, Kiyomi, Neji and Rock Lee appeared in the Hokage's office. Tsunade was startled to see how the four boys appeared in front of her falling to the ground. From what she could see, they all had injuries. Kiyomi and Shikamaru seemed to have less, Rock Lee seemed to not even be able to with his soul, and Neji was being treated by the Uchiha was unconscious, but apparently breathing. What happened? Tsunade said, coming out from behind her desk. Orochimaru did have more henchmen, Naruto took care of 2, well the rest of us took care of 1 each, but they were very strong, it cost us more than we thought, Lee had to use the internal doors again, and Neji almost did. Account. And Naruto. This is what I was going for, after we defeated all of Orochimaru's henchmen, he himself appeared and took Sasuke, Naruto knows that fighting him is a great danger, but he went after him anyway, leaving us here we are wounded and we would be nothing more than a hindrance. That boy is reckless, how he thinks he can face Orochimaru alone. He has done it before, he has the level, we must trust him, I trusted him. Trust is not enough sometimes. Kiyomi lowered her head. At least, try, it's hard, I don't want to leave him, in case he dies, I will not only lose my brother, but also someone very precious, I honestly don't know what would happen to me if that were to happen. Tsunade lowered her head, to tell the truth, she didn't want to lose Naruto either, that's why she was just as worried. But Naruto is someone intelligent, he wouldn't jump into battle without thinking twice, he must have something up his sleeve, I know he can come back, I trusted him. He has taught me many times that even if you don't believe something is possible there is always a way to improve yourself. Tsunade closed her eyes. Heh, sounds like a stupid optimist, but coming from him, I guess it makes some sense. Just because it comes from him. Kiyomi said. Not only him, all of you showed it, to tell the truth I didn't expect much of you on this mission, and the truth is I was regretting having sent you, but you showed me the opposite, well, with some complications. Tsunade lifted Neji between her shoulders. We have to take him to the hospital, here is not a good place to perform the operation he needs. I'll stay with you. No, you have to rest, you're very hurt. I refuse, I can continue, I want to save him, please. Tsunade looked at the determination in the girl's onyx eyes, she smiled. I guess I can't stop you, oh wow, why is everyone I meet like that? As well as. Of solidarity? I don't know anyway, we have to go. Shikamaru helped Lee while Tsunade left with Kiyomi and Neji. This whole thing was so annoying. Shikamaru What's up, Red? Do you think Naruto can come back? I mean, I don't doubt his ability but he's Orochimaru-san and don't ask me, don't you worry about him. Obviously yes, he's my friend so. I can't say for sure, I don't like having to escape and leave him alone, but he's the only one who can stand up to Orochimaru. Well okay, I understand. Naruto launched himself at high speed against Orochimaru, making a downward slash towards the Sannin, but he covered himself with his Kusanagi. The two engaged in a great Kenjutsu battle, Orochimaru's style was still flexible, however he was beginning to back away from the Uchiha's strength. I'll tell you something interesting. Orochimaru blocked a horizontal cut from Naruto. My Kusanagi sword is unbreakable, so no matter how much you hit it with that lightning sword of yours, it won't break. Now Naruto was the one backing away as he began to crouch down. Orochimaru gave a downward blow with great force, Naruto blocked it with his sword, it broke a little. Naruto could see that. From one moment to the next, the two began to disappear in blurs as sparks began to fly from the clash of the swords. Naruto sent another cut that was blocked, Naruto turned sending a kick that Orochimaru blocked once again with his elbows. Naruto returned quickly, Orochimaru tried to anticipate and sent a cut, but the Uchiha managed to predict it and quickly devised a counter. Naruto crouched down as he watched the sword pass over him, he kicked it hard, knocking it out of Orochimaru's hand. The sword flew towards one of the statues. Naruto got up immediately and delivered 2 slashes towards Orochimaru, both dodged by the snake. Orochimaru began to back away as he began to move his hand strangely. The Kusanagi sword began to move on its own until it returned at high speed to where Naruto was. The Uchiha was aware of that, he had already seen what that sword could do in the fight in the Hokage box. Naruto attacked as much as he could before jumping to avoid the sword that returned to the Sanin's hands. Orochimaru disappeared in a blur, Naruto could barely move, however Orochimaru's strength overcame him, and he withdrew the Uchiha's sword. Shit, let's see what you can do now. Don't tell me you can also control the sword from a distance. Naruto dodged 2 slashes from Orochimaru, but couldn't avoid the kick that landed on his face. Orochimaru once again placed himself in a battle pose. Naruto wiped some of the blood that was coming out of his mouth. Shunshin no jutsu, Naruto whispered. Naruto's body seemed to flicker as suddenly 2 more Narutos detached themselves from his body. So that technique again. It won't help. Naruto began to surround Orochimaru. Suddenly, the 3 Narutos began to multiply. It's strange, Orochimaru thought, unlike the other time, the images don't flash. I don't know if that's a big difference in how the jutsu works. I got this variant in my month of training with Jiraiya-sensei. Unlike the other variants, I use a kind of clone created by the technique. While the clones are physical and can attack freely, when attacked, it is very difficult to hit them, given that they are made with Shunshin, and they can stop being material for brief moments. Naruto thought. One of the Narutos launched himself against Orochimaru, the Sannin blocked his fist, another one launched himself against the snake, who had to use his other arm, then another Naruto appeared behind him, hitting him in the back of the head, more clones began to hit him successively. Futen. Rapusho. Orochimaru clapped his hands and sent a large wave of wind in all directions, but the clones did not dissipate. I didn't hit them. Aren't they physical? Said the Sannin. You're wrong, everything has substance, except the Shunshin, it won't end until you completely hit the original, this is the perfect Shunshin. Orochimaru was kicked in the chin, then in the stomach, his legs were swept, and as he fell, 3 Narutos planted their kicks in his body. I have to admit that it is a scary technique. Orochimaru got out of the water quickly. But I already told you that something like that is not enough. I already know it. Naruto's clones retracted as if they were rejoining his body, then Naruto placed his 2 fists in front of his face. In Orochimaru's sight, Naruto began to slide on the water, without moving his feet, the image of the Uchiha becoming more and more blurry until he disappeared for a moment. Orochimaru doubled over, as if he had received a blow. I can't see it. Orochimaru received another blow, this time on his leg, making him double over, then he received another one, on the neck, he grabbed his injured part, but another blow landed right on his face. Orochimaru began to concentrate more so he could see Naruto. He's very fast. I can barely see it, at least he's less fast than the Hiraishin, maybe I can predict it. From the view of someone without ocular ability, Orochimaru moved strangely, taking hits and trying to reach something that could not be seen. Shunshin, level 4, another variant that I invented. Perfect Shunshin is more of an imitation of my brother. Orochimaru extended his arm, blocking a blow from the Uchiha. What did you think, huh? Orochimaru immediately tried to stab Naruto with his sword, but he disappeared in a silver flash. I escape. Orochimaru grabbed his stomach and then rubbed his neck, then wiped away some blood that ran down the corner of his lips. It seems that I managed to do some damage, but it's nothing serious. Naruto appeared in front of his sword, which was buried in a space between Madara's feet. It shouldn't be taking so long. Naruto removed his sword and placed it in its sheath on his back. The battle is in his favor. To tell the truth, he gets used to my techniques too quickly, but for only being a 15-year-old boy, you are doing a lot in front of someone with at least more than 30 years of experience, said the Kyuubi. Naruto sighed. I just want to go home, relax. And I don't know, you sound like that Naruboy. Oh yes, in those things I come to envy Shikamaru. I don't know why I can't relax as much as him. I could never stare at the clouds all day, just a little in the afternoon, and from Hokage Mountain, he can do it at any time and anywhere, even in the middle of a battle, but now I feel capable of doing it there. Aha, and then. Do you know something? Once after training I lay on Kiyomi's legs, they are super soft, possibly better than my apartment pillow. I would love to lay on them one more time. Hey, you're very cool with her, right? What are you talking about? I just want to think about how to relax. Naruto blushed. Are you kidding? Look who you're fighting, concentrate. Kurama pressed the Uchiha. Okay. Naruto took out a kunai, placed it in his mouth, and then made hand seals. He grabbed the kunai again and blew on it, causing a large blade of wind to come out from the handle of the kunai, too well beyond the tip of the weapon. Then he took out his Shakudo and coated her with lightning chakra. Now that I think about it, how come I can't feel the Hiraishin mark I left on him? That guy changes his skin whenever he can, Kurama responded. Oh yeah. Naruto started running. Orochimaru felt that Naruto was approaching at high speed in a blur. She appeared in front of the Uchiha, but this blocked her lunge. He is using the Shinkijin, it is dangerous. Orochimaru was aware that the range of the technique was dangerous. Naruto and Orochimaru were starting to send cuts at each other. Orochimaru was receiving small cuts on his body. The force of the crashes began to move the water. Naruto began to advance since Orochimaru's injuries were bothering him. Orochimaru began to put more force into his attacks, but Naruto defended himself quite well. He defends himself quite well. Naruto's Sharingan was working at maximum, predicting every attack from Orochimaru, who noticed that Naruto's eyes were beginning to glow, leaving a trail of chakra. "Hey, are you predicting my attacks?" Orochimaru gritted his teeth. "If I had those eyes." Orochimaru suddenly turned into mud, making a substitution. Naruto began to move with Shunshin, quickly climbing the statues. Upon reaching Hashirama's head, Naruto found Orochimaru's sword pointed at his face. However, Naruto was saved thanks to his Shunshin. I jump quickly and go through hand seals. Kaiten. Kakaku no Jutsu. Suiton. Suiton no Jutsu. Orochimaru took a breath and sent a large air bullet that blocked the fireball. Naruto appeared from the steam trying to cut Orochimaru with his two swords, however, Orochimaru turned into water. Naruto turned quickly and blocked with his sword a kunai that was thrown by the Sannin from Madara's head. Naruto jumped while blocking all the weapons Orochimaru threw with his swords. The Sannin blocked Naruto's cuts and at high speed sent a kick to the Uchiha's stomach, who went flying. Naruto placed his Shakudo on the soles of his feet, the sword rotated, resting his soles on the handle of the sword. He stretched his leg throwing the sword towards Orochimaru, who blocked the sword with his own weapon and sent it away. Because she knew that Naruto could teleport to her. Naruto another kunai to Orochimaru and in a flash of speed, Naruto grabbed his sword away and then teleported the kunai holding it in his mouth. Again with his two weapons, Naruto turned forward, Orochimaru raised his elbows and placed his sword horizontally, blocking the two blows. Naruto threw his air chakra kunai downwards. Now with his free hand, he made the half-ram hand seal making a shadow clone that quickly kicked Orochimaru. It fell at high speed, passing by Naruto's kunai. Flash and a flash of silver, Naruto appeared next to his kunai, kicking Orochimaru again, then releasing the kunai from his mouth. With great effort, he turned in the air and slammed the kunai with his heel. Orochimaru landed in the water, barely out of instinct, he raised his sword, narrowly missing the kunai. I fell completely. Orochimaru barely realized it. In a flash of silver, Naruto appeared, the kunai once again in his mouth. He strongly supported his feet in the water. Orochimaru barely managed to make a small jump back, but it was too late. Naruto stretched out his left arm, making a horizontal cut, a large diagonal cut appeared on Orochimaru's body. It's not very deep. Naruto turned his Shakudo sword and threw it against a statue, the weapon buried itself in the rock. With his right hand free, he opens his palm, and purple lightning appeared in his hand. Shiden Naruto took a step forward and with determination, Naruto buried the jutsu in Orochimaru's chest. Orochimaru couldn't even scream as the jutsu shot towards one of the statues as the purple rays began to shine brightly, exploding halfway. Naruto turned a kunai, threw it at a not very high distance, appeared and disappeared. Now with his sword in his hand, he kept it in its sheath on his back. "I have to admit, that was great," Kurama said, starting to heal Naruto's wounds. "Thank you, it doesn't matter." Orochimaru came out of a lot of cracks, his clothes were completely stained with blood. Not a second later, he opened his mouth from which another Orochimaru emerged, who was breathing deeply. Almost he could have killed me. Orochimaru grabbed his chest, turning his figure to see how in his previous body, there was a hole in his chest. TSK, shit. Orochimaru extended his hand, his Kusanagi sword returned to his hand. "It can't be that this guy is giving me so much fight. What will be up to me if I let him live for a few more years, and although I can't use my old jutsus thanks to the Grim Reaper, he should still be stronger than him." Orochimaru began to walk slowly towards Naruto's figure. "If I can't put my curse mark on him, then I'll have to finish him off. He's a nuisance to my plans." Orochimaru disappeared in a blur. Naruto pulled out his sword and blocked the snake's attack. The Uchiha was surprised to see that it was now more difficult for him to block Orochimaru's attacks. The Sannin's strength was too much, and combined with the Kusanagi, it was worse. Orochimaru began to channel wind chakra into his blade Futen. How many natures does this guy have? Naruto moved his arms defensively. A clone of Orochimaru appeared from the water attacking the Uchiha. First Naruto began to be dominated by the two clones of Orochimaru. He tried to make shadow clones, but he didn't have time. Orochimaru was too fast from one moment to the next, he had to start using Shunshin to match the Sannin. Naruto spun around and finally landed a kick on the Sannin clone, dispelling it. He didn't realize that his own Shakudo already had enough damage, as its blade was tearing, all the stress he was putting on it was taking its toll. Orochimaru kicked Naruto, and in less than a second, he appeared from above, with a sword about to descend out of instinct. Naruto raised his sword to block the blow, however, it couldn't take it anymore. The metal of Naruto's Shakudo broke just a second before it fell to pieces, letting Orochimaru's cut cross. Naruto saw it coming in slow motion, he could barely close his eye when the sword slightly cut his face. A clean cut, but now that he's a Jinchuriki, his beast must be working to get the poison out of his system, but the poison acts quickly, at least he won't be free of the pain. Orochimaru was satisfied with what he saw. He had achieved. Naruto began to back away, while having one of his hands on his left eye, but Orochimaru appeared in a blur and punched the Uchiha in the stomach. Orochimaru wanted to finish off with his sword, but Naruto replaced it with a log. Naruto appeared on the cliff behind the statues, he began to climb to the head, the burning in his eye intensified causing him to clutch his face. The rain seemed to fall with more intensity, the Valley of the End was the place where a battle was taking place between two shinobi, one was greedy to the point of being crazy in the eyes of others, he simply wanted to know everything, and for that he needed the other shinobi's friend, someone who only wanted to save his friend at any cost. For his happiness and the happiness of more people who were now waiting in a safe place. In Madara Uchiha's head, Orochimaru was breathing deeply, keeping his hands resting on his knees, looking down at the cliff behind the statues. Naruto grabbed his face, he was kneeling, Naruto's ninja band began to slide towards his forehead, falling a little later, however, the Uchiha's hand held it before he touched the ground. He watched coldly as a few drops of blood fell on his ninja band next to his hand. She placed his band on the ground and brought her hand to his face, his left side was completely covered in blood, while his eye was closed. Shit, it was the only thing he could think. I just hope it hasn't gone further. Heh, I guess I'm the one who has the advantage. Orochimaru spoke, with his Kusanagi sword on the ground, at first glance he didn't seem to have any injuries, however his breathing was an obvious sign that fatigue was approaching. Naruto didn't breathe like Orochimaru, to tell the truth, his breathing seemed to be calm, now he had to stay calm, at all times. The rain began to clean the blood, little by little showing his almost pale skin. Her eye, still closed, now had a scar over hers, cutting into her eyebrow. You can't let that happen again. A thick voice was heard in his mind, it was the Kyuubi. Kurama, you're lucky I'm here, that sword contained a great poison, if you didn't retreat in 15 minutes, you could be in a near-death state, I'm pushing it as hard as I can. Thank you Kurama, I'm not surprised, he's Orochimaru, he's not a Sannin for nothing. Naruto ran his hand over his eye, feeling the scar. She lowered his hand, and with some suspense he opened her eye. He sighed when he saw that he was still there, his Sharingan spinning slowly. I would never forgive myself for losing the light that my mother's eyes gave me. He looked down at his ninja band, picked it up and pressed it to his chest. I'm going to have to use it. Orochimaru watched in suspense as Naruto raised his hands, placing the ninja band right on his forehead. Once it was in place, he tied the knot and then tightened it tightly as he opened his eyes, his Sharingan spinning rapidly as the pattern began to change. Naruto's Manjikyu glowed with fury, dangerously observing the snake Sannin. Get ready, I'm serious. Orochimaru didn't realize that he was slowly retreating. Am I afraid? Naruto stood in a battle pose, prepared for battle, his Manjikyu watching Orochimaru. Naruto was almost hallucinating, with a new vision of him, it was like seeing every drop of water with high definition, and a little further, to a Sannin who apparently now took him seriously. If you're not going to attack, I'll go. Naruto launched himself at Orochimaru, who was not impressed, and attacked with his sword, however, the blade of the weapon passed completely through Naruto. Once the sword left the Uchiha's body, he stretched out his fist and hit Orochimaru hard. The Sannin was sent flying backwards, falling off the statue. Naruto jumped and went through hand seals. Kaiten. Gakakyu no Jutsu. Naruto expelled the fireball towards the Sannin. That won't help at all, Orochimaru said, this step through hand seals Suiton. Suryudan no Jutsu. The water dragon came out from under Orochimaru and collided with the fireball. Once again, the jutsu continued forward trying to attack Naruto, but he passed through it like a ghost. TSK, that jutsu, it's very annoying. Naruto extended an axe kick, Orochimaru tried to block it with his sword, but Naruto became intangible once again, crossing the sword next to its bearer. Once it reached the ground, it swept Orochimaru's legs, who fell to the ground. Naruto took advantage and hit the Sannin in the stomach. Orochimaru stood up as quickly as he could and jumped back, taking his time. That jutsu, I was able to see it before, it seems like a kind of intangibility jutsu, but I don't know how it actually works, but at first glance, it doesn't seem to have any weakness, and also, now that he has activated his Manjikyu, I must be careful with his Amaterasu, which I already know is dangerous, I can't replace the skin more than twice more and… But Tsukiyomi left Kabuto out of combat without even moving Futen. To Toppa. Orochimaru sent a large gust of wind towards Naruto. Kaiten. Gakakyu no Jutsu. Naruto released a large burst of fire that was fanned by the wind thrown by Orochimaru. Orochimaru replaced himself with a log, the fire almost hit him. I can't afford to use wind on him anymore, although I can also do fire jutsu to counter his Kaiten jutsu. I should try to get him closer to a Taijutsu battle, so I can use Kamui to land good blows on him. Naruto took out a Hiraishin kunai. Orochimaru went through hand seals. Kaiten. Hasenka no Jutsu. Orochimaru sent several fireballs. Naruto began to jump somersaulting, at one point he threw his Hiraishin kunai at the snake. Naruto teleported before the kunai hit and began attacking the Sannin, sending several cuts that Orochimaru blocked with his sword. Sparks began to fly from the attacks, Naruto moved masterfully dodging several cuts, his evolved Sharingan allowed him to see the Sannin's attacks with great definition, it didn't matter at what speed he saw them, he felt like he could observe what Orochimaru would do. He dodged a slash by crouching, then moved to the right dodging a downward slash, turning his body dodging a kick. Orochimaru sent another horizontal slash, but this one passed through Naruto, who grabbed his arm once his weapon came out of him. I land a kick, then a palm blow to the Sannin's chest, another blow to his side, then I concentrate chakra and finish with another fist to his face. Orochimaru flew out crawling through the water, he got up quickly, but didn't have time to rest when Naruto appeared in front of him, without him realizing it. Naruto landed an upward hook into the Sannin's stomach, who spat out blood. Naruto sent a kick to his opponent's hand, stripping him of his weapon. Damn, he placed his Hiraishin mark on me, I can't escape from him. Naruto sent a kick to his stomach that sent him skidding through the water. The Uchiha made half-ram seals, and 2 clones appeared next to him. The first clone seemed to blur as it moved when it suddenly appeared next to Orochimaru and exploded loudly. However, the Sannin's speed saved him once again, the other clone performed the same action as the other and exploded near the Sannin again. Orochimaru emerged from a screen of smoke. Naruto followed him intently with his gaze. Should I use the Amaterasu? I don't know, it guarantees that he won't change his skin and lose the Hiraishin seal on him, maybe I'll use the Tsukiyomi. Orochimaru sent a bunch of kunai and shurikens towards Naruto, but they just passed through him. It's incredible the advantage that these eyes give me, I have so many options to finish him off, I simply have to execute, and that's it. What I wonder is why you hesitate, you no longer have any restrictions, you just attack, the Kyuubi said. Heh, yes thank you Oka-san. Naruto stared into Orochimaru's eyes, who felt a great chill in his body, suddenly, he stopped responding to him. I can't move, damn shit. Naruto closed his left eye, this time, he didn't feel any burning. However, the drop of blood appeared through his tear duct indicating the jutsu that was coming. Amaterasu. Naruto opened his left eye, which was now glowing brightly red. A second later, Orochimaru was consumed by black flames. He knew what he had to do, but it still hurt too much. Well, it's more than obvious that he changed his skin. Naruto let the rain clean the small amount of blood that came down from his eye. Naruto looked forward, seeing how Orochimaru's ancient skin floated in the water. If the instinct of danger sounded loud in his head, by instinct, he became intangible. Immediately, the Kusanagi sword pierced him cleanly, returning to the hands of Orochimaru, who for the first time in many years had an angry face. And it can't be, I'm on the ropes, he thought. My jutsus and my attacks are useless, he can simply become intangible and smart, and if that weren't enough, he can kill me so easily with the Amaterasu. You know something, Orochimaru? Naruto called the Sannin. I want to try something with you. Naruto began to be surrounded by a dark aura, black in color. This aura intensified and became very large. Behind Naruto, a dark gray spine began to form, it seemed to shine in contrast to the dark aura that surrounded it. After the column, the lathe, neck, arms, hands and finally, the face of Naruto's Susanoo appeared, bright amber eyes and 2 horns on its forehead. After a while, the rain began to calm down. This is very bad. Orochimaru was in front of the intimidating figure of Naruto's Susanoo, who exerted incredible pressure. He could barely get a little blood through the tattoo on his arm. Manda appeared on the fighting ground. Orochimaru, I hope you already know the price. It was then that the great snake turned towards the front. What is that? Surprised scream. It's a Susanoo, if you get me out of this, I swear I will make you twice as many sacrifices. Okay, but don't call me for this again, learn to handle your problems. Naruto put his hands in his pants pockets. I could summon court to have fun, but I think it will be later. The snake lunged at the chakra warrior, who stopped it in its tracks by grabbing the snake with his large skeletal hand and then punched it hard. How about a little more power? Naruto's eyes began to shine when his Susanoo seemed to begin to gain a kind of muscle fiber made of chakra which covered his arms and part of his neck. Surprisingly, more explosions of smoke appeared around Naruto, showing snakes other than Manda. They were giant, normal snakes. A little more power, more chakra was directed at the Susanoo. The large armor appeared to form behind the Susanoo, everything seemed to be part of a samurai armor, while a kind of scarf began to form, covering half of the Susanoo's face, and finally, a Kabuto helmet appeared, finishing overshadowing its face, making it appear in a small trace of darkness. Only the strangely serene eyes of the Susanoo could be seen. The most striking thing about the Susanoo was a kind of amber magatama that shone on its chest. Naruto took his hands out of his pockets, smiled a little. Let's go there. With Naruto's shout, the Susanoo opened his 2 palms, out of nowhere 2 white swords were formed, which seemed to be made of fire. However, it was only chakra. The snakes attacked without brains, but with every attack, they were sliced in half by the Susanoo. Naruto blocked an attack with his two swords, then cut the snake. The Uchiha continued fighting the summons, but suddenly realized something and Orochimaru. I looked back at Manda but Orochimaru wasn't in Manda's head. Naruto expanded his sensor sense, he could feel Orochimaru approaching Sasuke's container. Not even in your dreams you won't, not after everything I did. Naruto took out 2 Hiraishin kunai. And a bomb paper. First he threw a kunai that lodged in Manda's skin. Naruto threw his paper bomb into the air while tracing seals. Juinjutsu. Bomb seal multiplication. The paper bomb multiplied, reaching hundreds. He then threw his Hiraishin kunai into the air as hard as he could. Manda realized what he was doing and escaped, but Naruto already had him marked with the kunai. Naruto teleported the kunai in the air, the Susanoo had disappeared, he only made half-ram seals, and sent his chakra. A large series of explosions occurred. The explosions lasted for at least 20 seconds before they stopped. As the smoke dispersed, several snakes could be seen lying in the water, which then disappeared in wide explosions. Naruto went through another hand seal, and a kanji appeared on his hand, then he teleported to Manda and hit it with his palm. Traffic rhymes, yeah, immediately, several seals spread across his body impeding his movement. Naruto jumped away from her and sent a fireball, forcing her to disappear if she didn't want to be burned. Orochimaru came across the container carrying Sasuke. At least I'll go with you. Orochimaru went through hand seals, preparing a reverse summoning. He approached the container and touched it. In the end, I win. However, a Hiraishin kunai appeared in the middle of the two. Not a second later, Naruto appeared kicking Orochimaru and placing a hand on the container. Orochimaru looked at the Uchiha with annoyance. It seems like you have the advantage. Naruto looked at him seriously. You can't do anything now, he told her. I think you're right, I guess it's 2-0 huh? And this is the last one. Naruto closed his left eye. Orochimaru's escape jutsu was already prepared, he just had to crash his hand against the ground. We will meet. Once again Orochimaru placed his hand on the ground and disappeared in an explosion of whitish smoke. Naruto sighed. I may regret letting him live, the Sandaime did it once, and it was bad. Naruto looked at the container. His Manjutsu was deactivated. But that isn't the most important thing now, Naruto, and the container disappeared in a flash, appearing on Madara's head, where a Naruto kunai rested. The Uchiha turned his gaze to the sky, seeing how the clouds were beginning to clear. Then he turned his gaze to the container, seeing the seals. Barrier, lock, wait, lock, barrier, lock, and what appears to be an anti-jutsu seal. How strange. Naruto reviewed the seals he had. Uzumaki Fuinjutsu. Liberation. Little by little, he removed the seals that kept the container closed. As soon as I finished with the seals, I removed the lid of the container, from which a large amount of purple smoke came out. Not a second later, Sasuke came out taking a deep breath, then grabbed his chest while coughing a little. He scratched his eyes trying to eliminate a little itch. When his vision stopped being blurry, he could see it. Yo, Sasuke. Naruto greeted his friend. Sasuke smiled, he looked relieved. Yo, Naruto, you don't know how scared you gave us. Yes, this I want to tell you something. Yeah. Sasuke hung his head. Forgive me, please, I didn't mean to act like that with you, and Kiyomi, I honestly acted like an idiot. And Naruto placed his hand on her shoulder. I understand what you felt and also what you feel now, and for that, because I know you and for what you mean to me and your sister, I forgive you. Sasuke. Sasuke smiled, he didn't notice the small tears that were appearing, he quickly wiped them away and hugged his friend. Thank you for this, and for everything. You're welcome, we watch each other's backs, remember? Yes, by the way, is it just you? Aren't there more people? What about Kiyomi? There were 4 of them who kidnapped me. Did everything get complicated? If you were really passed out in there is a lot I have to tell you. Yes, but I could feel some things I also have to tell you. Okay, we'll talk later, but for now let's go home. Yes, home. The night in Konoha was always quiet, at least right now. The stars and the moon illuminated naturally, the wind was cold because it was raining not long ago. Kiyomi Uchiha walked through the streets of Konoha. Her gaze wandered around observing the lights and stalls. People walked around her talking happily, quite the opposite of her, she was worried. Her brother had been kidnapped and now her friend was fighting a rather dangerous ninja to save him, with a great risk that the 2 of them would come back. Turning a corner, he smelled a very familiar smell of spices. It wouldn't be bad, I'm honestly hungry, the girl thought, starting to walk towards the direction where the smell came from. A smile appeared on his face when he saw the Ichiraku ramen restaurant. It was a simple and pleasant place, although his favorite food was dango, the ramen was also very delicious in his opinion. I pass under the cloths entering the restaurant. Welcome to Ramen Ichiraku, take a seat. Tucci was the one who received the new customer. Good evening Tucci-san. The Uchiha greeted the owner of the restaurant. Oh, Kiyomi. It's nice to see you, come sit down, tell me what you want to eat. The man approached the table. For now I'm just going to have a bowl of chicken ramen. The girl sat down in one of the seats. Okay, a chicken ramen to order. By the way, where is Am? Oh, she went out to compare some foods, you know. Oh well, about 10 minutes passed until the Kiyomi ramen was ready. Tucci served the hot food in front of the girl, who thanked her and took some chopsticks, starting to eat. A few minutes later, AM entered the restaurant. Hello Kiyomi, how are you? Eating alone? Yeah, sometimes I like to have my space. Oh, I see. Well, I hope you have time to talk to me, okay? Of course, after AM dropped off the shopping in her restaurant's kitchen, she started talking to Kiyomi, who ordered another bowl of ramen. The two girls were deep in conversation until some people entered the restaurant. Old man, I'm back. A blonde blur entered the restaurant, greeting loudly. Mito. I already told you to respect. Kushina entered after her daughter, followed by her other son, Menma, who kept a cheeky smile when he saw how his sister was scolded. Why yeah, I'm sorry Hello Kiyomi. The blonde spotted her best friend. Hello Myth. The Uzumaki family sat next to Kiyomi, Kushina and Mito on their sides. Menma was next to his mother. Each one asked for their order, forcing AM to work. So Kiyomi, tell me, how is everything going? Kushina rested her elbows on the table, laying her face in her palm. Well, have you been on a mission? Now that I think about it, where are Naruto and Sasuke? Are they on a mission? Kiyomi remained silent. Hey Kiyomi, my mother asked you a question. The girl started squeezing her chopsticks. Kushina realized that Tucci approached the table and served the dishes to each of the Uzumaki. However, none of them paid enough attention. Only Menma picked up the chopsticks, but he was attentive to what was happening with Kiyomi. Kiyomi, if you don't want to tell it, you don't have to, and no, don't worry, Kiyomi said. I'll tell you. Kiyomi told everything that had happened, Sasuke's kidnapping, Naruto's mission and Fight B. But how is it possible that they left him alone against Orochimaru? Kushina was exploding. She was worried that Naruto was left alone with him. It was his decision, he said he could handle it. Don't worry, Mom, Mito spoke to her mother. Now Naruto has awakened his eternal. I don't know what thing, it's assumed that with those eyes he's much stronger than before. I'm sure he'll give that damn girl the beating of his life. Snake, well, but still it's very dangerous. Orochimaru is a ninja with too much experience. Even though Naruto's eyes are stronger, the battle couldn't be so. Kushina noticed how Kiyomi squeezed his eyes. Chopsticks in his hands. A great silence invaded them. Tucci and AM listened from the kitchen. They had stopped organizing. I'm sorry Kiyomi, this. Don't worry Kushina-san, I know the odds are low, but I fully trusted him. He promised me, and he always keeps his promises. Kushina smiled. Well, after all, it's you and Sasuke who know him best. Kiyomi smiled back. Everyone continued eating. Kiyomi stayed with the Uzumakas for a while longer, until everyone went home. Kiyomi arrived at the apartment, placed the palm of her hand on the door. A series of kanji lit up until the sound of a click was heard. This was a security seal. Naruto had adjusted it so that only he, her and Sasuke could open it. She smiled seeing her friend's work. She opened the door and closed it, the seals lighting up once more after she closed it. He entered his room and began to change. He opened the closet looking for comfortable clothes to sleep in. He put on a simple shirt with a high collar and short sleeves. They were wider than normal, so they were comfortable to sleep in. She was about to change her skirt until she heard a knock on her door. Who could it be at this time? She walked barefoot, reached the door and opened it. An Anbu, what do you offer Anbu-san? Tsunade-sama requires you in his office. Okay, I'm coming. The Anbu nodded and then disappeared. Kiyomi sighed and put on her ninja sandals once again, which were on the other side of the door. He took his time. I walk once again through the streets of Konoha, alone once again. The air was now a little colder. He blew on his hands, then rubbed them against his arms. He started to think. What could he want from my Tsunade-sama at this hour? A mission? Or maybe it's news about what's happening with Naruto. He shuddered at that thought. A strong current of wind passed. He shook a little. After a while, he reached the tower, entered, and then spoke a little with the receptionist. She gave him way and once again, walking. He went up the stairs to the second floor. His footsteps could be heard clearly. There was a lot of silence. Finally he stood in front of the door that led to the office. The light from the place made it a little blinding. Everyone in the office turned to look at her, each one with a smile on their face. Hello Kiyomi. The girl heard them calling her. Well, the annoyance in her eyes reduced little by little. I finally managed to observe Tsunade Shizune and ... Sasuke felt his sister's hug. It had been so fast, he had barely even seen her. After Naruto finally rescued him, he and his friend had returned to the village using Kamui. They used it since Naruto wanted to try it, and the truth is, he was excited. Tsunade had been scared when she saw how a kind of whirlpool that twisted space formed in front of her, but she calmed down and was very happy when she saw that Naruto and Sasuke had gotten out of it. He received each of them in their own way. He had received Naruto with a fairly strong hug, then he did a quick check on Sasuke, then he turned to look at Naruto once again, since he had noticed the scar on his face, completely healed by the Kyuubi. The skin had regenerated, but it had left the mark there. Tsunade couldn't do anything either, because the wound had actually already been treated. After asking some questions, Tsunade sent for Kiyomi, but Naruto was gone. Sasuke told her that he was going to Mount Hokage, since Naruto himself had told him during the trip he would go to that place to calm down after going through so much tension. After that, Tsunade notified him that she would call Kiyomi to meet him again so that the two could finally see each other. And now he was here, being hugged by his sister, and he did not hesitate for a second to reciprocate, bowing his head a little so that his cheek rested on her head. Sasuke felt his sister's tears wet his shirt, but he didn't care at all. He continued with her, feeling her warmth, feeling all her emotion. He was really happy. Tsunade smiled when she saw the scene. It kind of reminded her of her, but she may not have had the same luck. "I missed you too much." Kiyomi separated from the hug. "Me too. This what's happening. I want to apologize for what happened between us before they kidnapped me. I don't worry, I forgive you." Sasuke was surprised, but smiled and hugged his sister. "Thank you, Kiyomi, it's incredible that you can forgive me so easily." Naruto already told you, we understand you. There was a little silence. Wait a minute, Naruto. Where is he? He's at Mount Hokage, you know, to relax. Hey, is it that you are thinking only of him? Leave it, you've been thinking about us for a long time. I want to see it. Kiyomi separated. Okay, you know where it is. Kiyomi disappeared in the blink of an eye. Kiyomi appeared on the plateau that was on Mount Hokage, near the cliff. He began to walk closer and closer to the cliff until he reached the shore, where he could see the Hokage heads from above. The Tsunade head was already under construction. When he saw the head of the Yondaime Hokage, he saw a figure that was apparently sitting. She smiled and jumped to reach the boy's side. Naruto had sensed Kiyomi's presence, but he continued to look ahead, seeing all the lights of the village. "Hello, Naruto." "Hello, Kiyomi, how's everything?" Naruto asked Kiyomi. "Everything is fine, thanks to you." Kiyomi sat next to Naruto. "Oh, I see, that's good." Naruto turned to see Kiyomi with a smile. However, Kiyomi was surprised to see the scar he had on his face. But what happened to you?" Kiyomi placed her hand on Naruto's face, feeling the imperfection on the boy's skin. "That guy, he ruined your face." The girl caressed Naruto's face. The boy grabbed his friend's hand. "It's nothing, it's just a wound, I can leave it behind." Kiyomi smiled and hugged her friend. "Thank you, really, thank you." "You are welcome." The two separated a while later. Naruto smiled at the girl. "You must be tired, how about we go home? It's time to rest." "Yes, I miss my bed, despite not being away from it for so long." The two stood up, the girl took Naruto's hand, and the two disappeared in a flash. The next day. Naruto woke up late, all the energy he had lost the day before had been regained. After that, Naruto had had breakfast once again with his two friends. After that, he arrived at the Hokage Tower to try to obtain a mission, since in reality, he wanted to clear his mind. He went up the stairs and reached the office. He opened the door, meeting Tsunade, Shizune, and to his surprise, Jiraiya. "Hey, hello Naruto," the Sannin said, greeting his student. "Yo, Jiraiya-sensei, what are you doing here? I thought you were outside the village." "Well, you know I was. What do you offer?" Naruto. Tsunade spoke. "Well, I was only here to look for a mission." I see, but don't you think it's too soon? Shouldn't you rest? Yesterday you had a fairly long mission, and not to mention the fight you had." "I'm fine, I swear, one night of sleep was enough for me." "I'm not so sure." Tsunade got up from her seat and walked towards the boy, placing her hand on his forehead. A green glow appeared in her palm, indicating that she was performing a checkup. "Calm down, Tsunade, I can feel that the boy is fine, you don't have to act like his worried grandmother." "He didn't act, and I'm not his grandmother. Did you hear me?" A vein appeared on the Hokage's forehead. Jiraiya got scared. Yeah, I'm sorry." Tsunade returned to her position. "Well, actually it's good that you came, Jiraiya has something to tell you." "Oh yeah? What is Jiraiya-sensei?" "Well, ahem." Jiraiya falsely cleared his throat to try to sound interesting. "Well, I was waiting for Tsunade to call you, but you arrived so perfect. Well, I'm here to talk to you about Akatsuki." "Akatsuki? What is that?" Tsunade asked. "Akatsuki is a criminal organization made up of S-rank shinobi." "Wow, that's something dangerous, and what's going on with them?" "Well, what happens is that we were not very clear about its objective, but with its last appearance, we can now guarantee what its objective is." "Last appearance, do you mean that time?" Naruto remembered when he met Itachi and his partner Kisame. "That's right, I'm referring to the time when Itachi Uchiha and Kisame Hoshigaki appeared in the village, and then they went for Menma. With this I think they should already know what they want the Kyuubi." Naruto said. A little further Jiraiya said. "Right." Jiraiya. Tsunade was tense. "With the help of my spies, I can infer that the Akatsuki's objective is to collect all the Bijuus." What? But why would they want them all?" "That I don't know, but the good thing about all this is that they haven't started collecting them. Apparently, they need to run some errands before going with their main course." "What are you trying to get at with all this, Jiraiya?" Finally. Tsunade wanted to know what Jiraiya wanted. I have investigated, and the Akatsuki will not begin their operation for 3 years. We can use that time to our advantage. As long as they do not get the Kyuubi, they will not be able to do what they want. Myth and Naruto must become strong, since they are the current recipients of the Kyuubi, and since they are all S-rank ninjas. It will not be easy to defend against them. Naruto can already rival a Sannin, thanks to that Manjikyu. It is a very precious jewel that needs to be refined, and Myth also has great potential, and as if that were not enough, both have a good relationship with their respective halves. They are destined for greatness. So what? We'll train here? Naruto asked. Not here, I still have to keep in touch with my spies, and besides, it is good to train outside the village, to live experiences that will enrich your knowledge. Oh wow, then, would it be like spending 3 years outside the village? That's right, but there is something else. I will take Mito and Menma with me, but you Naruto, I want you to go on a training trip alone. What? No way. Tsunade said. Wait a moment, listen to me please. Yes. Naruto is very good, there are only some things that I can still teach him, but otherwise, he is very good. Now go on a trip alone, discover different things. Things in the world will give you a great experience, and you will learn many things. I have quite a few contacts that can teach you things in different parts of the world, and in addition, you will be able to continue doing Konoha missions, but you will not return to the village to continue with your training. By the way, I will also participate. You know I like the idea, Naruto said, but what about Kiyomi? I will take care of her, she already asked me to be her teacher, and the truth is, I like her, I will make her the strongest kunoichi, and besides, Sakura also asked me to train her, and you know what? I also accepted. She reminds me a lot to me when I was her age, so explosive. Ah yes, that brings back memories, Jiraiya commented. That perverted old man's idea is not bad. Kurama's voice was heard in Naruto's mind. Traveling outside the village can give you different experiences, learning everything from different nations. Besides, who said I can't help you with your training? Can you help me? Naruto asked. Hey. You are talking to a creature that is more than 1,000 years old. I am a machine of experience. I can teach you jutsus and techniques that I have seen throughout my years, especially from that bastard. Bastard. Don't tell me. Oh yes, that damn ancestor of yours. As long as you agree. I appreciate you worrying, but honestly you don't have to, at least not for me. Kurama complained to Naruto. Okay, whatever you say, Naruto. Tsunade called. Do you really want to do this? Grandma. Tsunade frowned at what Naruto said. You can still call me to do missions, and I also have my Hiraishin. I can come here whenever I want, although I may not have time. Tsunade sighed. Well, you will go on that trip, Myth and Menma with Jiraiya, Kiyomi with me, but what about Sasuke? Everyone stayed silent. Well, possibly they think I'm crazy. Naruto began to speak. I consider that Orochimaru has become a nuisance to all of us. He is a very smart, strong and experienced person. We have not even been able to locate his bases from the beginning. Time that the Sandaime found one inside Konoha, and we know that he must have more, because it is not normal for a renegade ninja to be out there wandering, and that no one tries to stop him, and also where the hell does he do all his experiments without that no one notices? Get to the point, Tsunade ordered Naruto. Okay, what I want to do is for Sasuke to leave the village as a mission and infiltrate an Orochimaru base. You're crazy. Well, I already knew you were going to say that, that's why I warned them, but I want you to think about the advantages. Sasuke is a person that Orochimaru wants, and now that he has had to change his body, he has to wait a few years. Orochimaru will train Sasuke, aiming for him to become a strong vessel, and also, since Orochimaru thinks that Sasuke is on his side, Sasuke could send us information about Orochimaru's different bases and his movements. But what if Orochimaru tries to put the cursed seal on Sasuke? Tsunade asked. Let him put it on, Naruto responded simply. What? Okay, you're definitely crazy. Would you seriously let that guy put that mark on Sasuke? It's a danger. I am aware of what it is and what it can do, in addition to the danger it entails, but by then, I consider that I already found a way to get rid of the seal. In addition, I trusted Sasuke, and I know that he will be able to against the influence of this dot. If you trust him so much, why didn't you let him go back then and tell him this plan? Jiraiya said. Because I needed the Hokage's authorization to what Naruto said. Tsunade smiled victoriously at Jiraiya. Naruto continued. Besides, it hadn't occurred to me until when I came here. I don't think it's a bad idea, Jiraiya said, rubbing his chin, but in any case if it goes wrong we will lose a lot, especially you don't have to remind me, I'm aware of what I can lose, but I want to be optimistic and look on the positive side. We will have a spy in Orochimaru's bases, and in a few years, a fairly strong shinobi in our ranks. Okay, but I have 2 questions, Tsunade said. Alright, first, you already consulted with Sasuke about this? No, but I plan to do it today. Okay, in the end it all depends on whether he wants to or not, and the other question is, how did Sasuke meet Orochimaru or one of his subordinates? Shit. Naruto was silent for a moment. Haven't you thought about it? Tsunade said. Did I tell you that the idea occurred to me yesterday? Naruto defended himself. Just give me a few minutes to think. The room was silent for a little while. Okay, I just thought of this, Naruto said. Okay, say it. Tsunade spoke. We have to put Sasuke in the bingo book. This time Tsunade didn't scream, she simply made a sign with her hand to tell Naruto to explain. By putting Sasuke in the bingo book, surely the information would reach Orochimaru, surely he would send someone to look for him. What do we do with the other villages? Surely they will send someone too. It's dangerous, but I honestly can't think of how to escape from it. Well, Kurigakure can't afford to look for it, being at war, almost post-war. Sunagakure, I'm not sure, maybe they will try to bring it back to us to compensate us for what they did to us, but Sasuke can handle them, plus, they are also busy with their internal affairs now. The Wagakure and Kumagakure do worry me, they are both villages with which we have friction. I'm sure they will try to catch him and maybe offer him to us for a large sum of money, or perhaps, not even return it to us, but rather keep it. Naruto closed his eyes, reflecting once again. Wow, he does think about things a lot, I don't blame him, Shizune thought. I have no choice but to take the risk, anyway, I can use the Hiraishin and the weight, that's it. I can use the Hiraishin. And if you teleport to him you can bring him here in case he is in danger. Yeah, well, I guess we can take that risk. I hope this plan of yours turns out well, I trusted you and you're thinking okay. Naruto bowed. Thank you very much, Hokage-sama. You don't have to treat me like that, you already know we're close once again, Naruto nodded. Well, you know, you already have to talk to Sasuke about. And also with Kiyomi, Naruto said, looking at Jiraiya, who smiled at him. Everyone has to do their own things, create their own paths. Jiraiya told Naruto, placing a hand on his shoulder. Okay, well, I'm leaving. Naruto disappeared in the blink of an eye. I'm sure he will be the strongest, Jiraiya thought out loud. What did you say? Tsunade asked. What about what? Location. Naruto's house time. 8:34 p.m. To clear his mind, Naruto had spent the entire day with Sasuke and Kiyomi. They had trained together as they had done until now. The three of them realized that it had been a while since they had done so. After that, they had eaten at Ichiraku, at Naruto's request, where they met Mito, Menma, and even Hinata, who was between the two brothers. They talked about different things, like the missions they had done. Hinata commented that now, Neji was nicer to her. After that, Menma challenged Naruto to a battle, a classic. Naruto accepted, and they fought a little. After seeing Menma fall honorably, each one went towards his house, but before Hinata magically took out a healing ointment to cure Menma, Kiyomi thought that maybe she would also be a good medical ninja, because she likes it better. Heal the agent than hurt her. Once at home, they stayed talking in Kiyomi's room, about anything. It was always easy to find a topic of conversation between them, they always had that ease of sharing. And so, now I will learn medical jutsu, and I will also become stronger. Kiyomi finished talking about her future training with a Hokage. She was standing on her bed while punching the air. Kiyomi, get off the bed. Sasuke said, scolding his sister. Hey. Did you hear me or what? Of course, I'm just asking you to stop doing that, you look like a little girl. Oh whatever. Kiyomi sat on her bed with her arms crossed and pouting. Naruto laughed. She really acts like a little girl, just look at her. Sasuke laughed too. Stop making fun. Kiyomi was blushing with embarrassment. Okay, don't go crying, Sasuke said. I'll tell Kushina-san that you read Jiraiya's book. Hey. Let's not go to those extremes. Sasuke said. Also, I haven't read that. I do, Naruto said. Kiyomi stared at him with wide eyes. Are you kidding? Sasuke said, just as surprised. Naruto placed his hands behind his head. Well, apart from the morbid scenes, it has a good background, eh? Love story between two young souls, and that, at least that's what Jiraiya-sensei says. I can't believe it, Naruto, you're a pervert. Kiyomi said, covering her mouth. Hey. None of that, I'm not a pervert. Kushina-san wouldn't like to know this. You should stop planning my premature death, you know. You're scaring me, Naruto said. Oh wow, can you imagine? I would make you Tsunade-sama if I knew. I'm starting to question if you're really my friend. Kiyomi laughed. Don't worry, I won't tell anyone that. You're 15 years old, it's normal for you to have those impulses. Now what? Do you think you're older than me? No, but I know about those topics. Oh yeah? Who taught you? Oka-san. Wow, Mikoto-san always knew about these topics. And you say it, to tell the truth, Itachi used to say that our mother was a bit mischievous, but she knew how to hide it, although she was still the neat and kind person she was. Sasuke said. You see, Kiyomi. We are all perverts at some point, Naruto said. Speak for yourself, I am a clean being, Sasuke said. Sure, hey, and. What about Menma's sexy jutsu? It sounds a lot like a myth. You better stop holler right now, Naruto Uchiha. Naruto laughed. It's okay, I'm sorry. The three of them were silent for a moment. Guys, Naruto called the two brothers. What's wrong? The two paid attention. Naruto took a breath. He decided to get to the point. I'm going to leave the village. What? Kiyomi screamed. Sasuke just opened his eyes wide. I think I didn't say it with the right words, or rather, I missed some words, he thought. Do you think so? Kurama said in his mind. What I meant was that I'm going to leave the village for a while. Why? Kiyomi said, her expression turning sad. Naruto told them about the journey he would take alone, about what he would do with Jiraiya and everything. So is that, Kiyomi said, sad. Yeah, but I remember that I can still come visit you. The problem is time. Don't worry, I'll be very busy anyway. Wow, so Kiyomi will be training with Tsunade-sama and you'll be going on a trip with Jiraiya-sama. Well, Myth, Menma and I are not the only ones who may possibly leave the village. Oh yeah? And who else? Sasuke, we were thinking about a special mission for you. I have a bad feeling, Kiyomi thought. Sasuke, your mission is to infiltrate Orochimaru's chambers and serve as a spy for Konoha. No way. Kiyomi hugs her brother. I'm not going to leave him, I just got him back. I'm not going to send him back to his kidnapper. Kiyomi refused to let her brother go once. Would you like to listen to me first? What do you think, Sasuke? I don't really want to do it, Sasuke replied. I understand you, after what you went through, you wouldn't want to have anything to do with Orochimaru, but I need you to listen to me too. We have reasons for choosing you and not me. I imagine one reason is the ease of seeing Orochimaru. Yes, Orochimaru currently aspires more to get you and not me, so it is easier for you to access. What am I supposed to do? Sasuke asked. Basically you would have to pretend to be a renegade ninja in order to put yourself in the bingo book for a reward to return you here alive. We are counting on Orochimaru to send someone to catch you, but you will pretend to give up and join him. I don't like that part, Sasuke said. Let me finish. Anyway, once you are inside Orochimaru's bases, you will let him train you. He needs some time before he can possess your body. We need you to tell us that. After that, you will inform us of his movements, his bases, his experiments, and basically what he does. Also, in the process he will train you, so you will become very strong. Okay, that part interests me, but what if he tries to put the cursed seal on me? Sasuke saw that Naruto looked away. No, is it serious? I don't know what else to do so that Sasuke doesn't look suspicious. Unfortunately it's a risk you have to take, Naruto. Are you crazy? Are you thinking of using my brother like that? I'm going to talk to Tsunade-sama. Kiyomi was getting upset. Please don't do that, sit down and listen, it's better that you see what Sasuke decides. Kiyomi sat down once again with an angry face. Sasuke, once again I don't have many reasons to convince you, and in the end it's what you decide. I can't, and no one can force you to do something you don't want, but think about it cold, they are entrusting this mission to you because they trust you. What you can do, you can give us valuable information, make us always stay one step ahead of Orochimaru. You already saw what he is capable of doing, as if that were not enough, you will become a really strong shinobi under the tutelage of someone who, although this almost crazy, he is very strong and experienced. If you make this great sacrifice on your part, I will do my best to find a way to remove the cursed seal. Sasuke closed his eyes, pondering what he was going to decide. Think that you are protecting us all. Besides, I will meet you whenever I have time. Alright, that Kiyomi was surprised. I'll do it. Sasuke stood up. Naruto smiled. Kiyomi stood in front of her brother. Sasuke, are you sure of what you decide? Yes, if I'm honest, I don't think I'll make much progress being in the village. You and Naruto will be busy with your things, including Myth and Menma. What about Kakashi-sensei? It's good, but Sasuke didn't know what to say. Naruto looked at him seriously. It's what I can do, I trust Naruto, and the Hokage. Sasuke grabbed his sister's hands and smiled at her. Everything will be fine, okay? It's okay, I trusted you. Kiyomi hugged her brother who caressed her head. Naruto smiled. Well, it's time to sleep. Sasuke was about to leave, but Kiyomi grabbed his shirt. Stay here, please. Good. Kiyomi lay down on the bed next to her brother. Naruto was leaving the room. He turned off the light and wished goodnight to the twins, who responded the same. Naruto walked down the hallway until he reached the room. He entered and took off his shirt, choosing to sleep without it. He opened the curtains, letting the dim light of the night enter his room. He lay down on his bed. He looked to the side, seeing his nightstand, from which he grabbed the photo that he had with his mother and Shisui. I've been through so many things and sometimes I need them to be here. Naruto caressed the photo frame. But at least they are resting and I feel like they are watching me. I guess that's enough. He put the frame back in its place and prepared to sleep. Location. Hokage Mountain. Naruto appeared once again near the cliff of the Hokage Tower. He looked down, seeing the head of the Yondaime, but this time there was someone there, Aridid. Naruto lowered himself to the head and greeted his friend. Yo, how are you, Menma? Menma turned his figure, looking at Naruto. Ah, it's you. Well, everything is fine. Menma turned once again towards the front. What are you doing here? You're not much for coming to sit and watch the village. Well, today yes, also, here I feel closer to my father. Naruto approached Menma and sat next to her. Yesterday, Jiraiya appeared and told us that we would go on a trip with him for 3 years. Yes, I know it took a few moments for Menma to remember that Naruto was also Jiraiya's student. Why don't you go? Menma asked. Well, if I go on a trip but not with you, basically we will only see each other when Jiraiya-sensei has time to train me, but I will meet several of his companions who will help me become strong. I see. Well, what about Kiyomi and Sasuke? Well, Kiyomi will train with Tsunade-sama and Sakura, and Sasuke. Well, Naruto told Menma what was happening with Sasuke. Wow, so he has to do that, it's a big burden. Yes, but he can handle that. Right now I was talking to Grandma Tsunade. I see. I hope it goes well for you. By the way, how did Kushina-san react to the news? It's a mix of amazement, fear, denial and acceptance. That's quite strange. In the end he let us go, but he told me not to let myself be influenced too much by Iro-sennin. Naruto laughed a little. Yes, and where is Myth? I honestly don't know, maybe it's in Ichiraku. No, I'm here. Mito appeared behind the two boys, with a bag in her hand, and just so you know, I was at Ichiraku, but I ordered the ramen to go. Do you want it? Yes, of course, yes. Naruto and Menma received the ramen from the girl, who sat next to them. Where are Kiyomi and Sasuke? Naruto? Mito asked with his mouth full. Naruto once knew that this conversation would lead to the same place, so he just let it flow on its own. Grandma Tsunade can't allow Sasuke to go to that place. Mito shouted. Hey. What's going on? You're almost as upset as Kiyomi, and since she's her sister, does it really worry you that much? Of course, and you should be the same, you're his best friend. Well, I'm basically the creator of that idea, Naruto thought. Believe me, I'm worried, but I know Sasuke can handle it. And no, it's not normal, that guy already said it, he wants your eyes, nothing more. It's possible to possess your body. Mito made strange signs with his hands. I know, that's why we need to know what he's doing. We can't catch him if we don't know where he is. Who knows, it may be Sasuke himself who is in charge of finishing it. Naruto, I don't want anything to happen to him. Me neither, but that's how it is, that's how things are in the shinobi world. We can't let a threat as big as him step forward. Sasuke is the right one, the best one for this. Okay, if you believe it. And when is he leaving? Actually, I don't know, that's not my decision anymore. We have to wait for the bingo book to gain relevance here in the Land of Fire. After Orochimaru captures it, we will remove it from the bingo book so they stop attacking it. Wow, it's very risky, Menma said. And that you say it? Mito placed her arms on top of her knees, covering her mouth. Menma picked up 2 bowls of ramen. Do you want one? The redeed asked Naruto. Yes, actually I'm hungry. Time skip. 2 months. And how did the best jonin in this village fare? Tsunade turned around at his desk, looking at Naruto and Kakashi next to him. Tsunade Oba-chan, you shouldn't treat me like that, Naruto said, scratching his head. Kakashi sighed. There is no longer respect for those who have been here longer. I'm sorry Kakashi, I haven't forgotten you, and tell me how it was in that place. Well, everything is fine, the scroll was successfully recovered and the thugs have been killed, Naruto said. Excellent. Well, they have already done enough missions these days, they can take a break, although you're Naruto, I want you to stay a little longer. Okay, see you mate. Kakashi patted Naruto on the back and then disappeared in an explosion of white smoke. Naruto and Tsunade were left alone. And tell me, Naruto, have you already spoken to Sasuke? Tomorrow is the day. Naruto sighed. Yes, Kiyomi is going to meet us at the Ichiraku. Meet? You know, our friends and that, let's say goodbye. Ah now. Well, Tsunade watched as Naruto's fingers trembled. Are you sure you're okay? Tsunade asked. Who, me? Of course I'm fine. Tsunade stood up from her chair. You forget that I am the Hokage, but beyond that, I am a small part of your family, do you understand? Naruto nodded. I can notice something in your gaze, something beyond those impassive and cold eyes, which know how to show affection and love when necessary. Tsunade took Naruto's trembling hand. And you know I can guess what you're feeling right now, right? What do I feel? Fear. Naruto didn't respond. You forget that you are a boy who is only 15 years old, who is about to send his best friend of all his life on a very difficult mission, to be separated from him, and he doesn't know when something bad can happen, naturally. You're worried. Yes, I don't know if it's really good, and also I'm scared by the fact that the creator of the idea was me, and that if something bad happens, it is nothing more and nothing less than my fault. And that's the problem, stop thinking that it's going to end in something bad. Tsunade stood in front of Naruto and caressed his cheek, letting his thumb pamper the boy. Naruto felt a familiar sensation, it was how his mother felt, with Kiyomi, so warm. You are someone strong, Naruto, everything is going to turn out well, it is not a perfect plan, but you thought of solutions, if somehow it goes wrong. I know, but I already told you. Tsunade kissed her almost grandson on the cheek. Go enjoy with your friend, the one who needs your presence more than anyone now, and forever. Naruto nodded, then disappeared in a flash of silver. In the Ichiraku ramen, a silver flash appeared announcing the arrival of Naruto, who passed under the tablecloths completely entering the ramen stand. Naruto. The unison voice of the genins of Konoha, all of us, received Naruto. Hi guys. The afternoon was fun, everyone talked and ate, shared experiences, walked around the village for a while, then, when saying goodbye, each one said goodbye to Sasuke and wished him good luck on his future mission, and some said that the time and once Mito, Menma and Naruto leave, they should repeat the meeting. At night, Naruto was in his stamp room, working on future projects, Kiyomi and Sasuke were already sleeping, he would go after a while. Naruto turned his head as he saw the door being opened. Opening completely, Sasuke appeared. Hey Naruto, can we go to that place? I asked. At this time? You're sure? At this time the lights are more visible, right? Naruto smiled, stopped what he was doing and stood next to Sasuke, who grabbed his shoulder, and the two disappeared in a flash of silver. They appeared at the top of Mount Hokage, above the Yondame's head once again. This will be the last time in years that I will see the town from up here. Sasuke's eyes shone in the reflection of all the lights of Konoha. Yes, this is the town where you and I are going to train for years. We already did that, didn't we? Sasuke turned to look at Naruto. Oh yes, but this time we are going to be outside of it, with the purpose of becoming stronger than ever. You know, I had a doubt. Tell me, I was wondering if me and Kiyomi will ever awaken the Mangekyou. Naruto was silent for a moment. You know, Sasuke, awakening that power is not easy, but that does not mean that I hate that one day you will awaken it, but understand that the price is very high. Now I have a question for you, why is that? Ask. The thing is, does it bother you in some way that you don't have that power? How come you can always hit the nail on the head? Sasuke said, turning to look somewhere else. Sasuke, I understand that the power is very great and in some way it makes you feel invincible, but remember the price I paid to awaken it. Out of the corner of his eye, Sasuke saw Naruto, who had his Mangekyou active, looking towards the village. I had to lose my own brother, every time I was forced to use him, it was as if I could see once again how he faded in front of my eyes while he was losing his light. The good thing is that somehow, my mother's eyes were a cure for the darkness in which those eyes plunged me, and in some way, you will be the same for Kiyomi, and she for you. I see well. I guess I'll have to become stronger without them, so I can prove that I don't need them. You'll see that not, Naruto smiled at Sasuke. Anyway, you only brought me here to ask me that, you could have asked me the same question at home. Yeah, but Sasuke shrugged. It's much better here, I could sleep here comfortably. Sasuke stretched out his arms. Okay, good night. Naruto disappeared in a silver flash. Wait, it was just a joke. Naruto appeared in another flash of silver. Don't worry, I was joking too. Damn, Naruto let out a laugh. The next day. The day was getting dark, it seemed like it was going to rain. Sasuke was already ready to leave, he had all his things in the special seals that he had made for him, these had much more space than normal seals. It was already a little late, so I was about to leave. In fact, now I found myself in front of the south gate of the village. There were also the Hokage, Kakashi, Kiyomi, Naruto, and surprisingly Mito and Menma were also there. Sasuke was about to say goodbye to each one, it was his time to leave. Tsunade had already put her name in the bingo book, and it wouldn't be long for the new edition to reach every corner of the country of fire. Many people would receive the information that the heir and newest head of the Uchiha clan was now in the bingo book, wanted by none other than his village, Konohagakure. Sasuke stood in front of the Hokage, who put her hands on his shoulders. He trusted you for this mission, remember that he has us all after you, so don't worry, Naruto will see you from time to time, he is the one you have to transmit the information to, although you can also use your crows to send it directly, whatever seems most correct to you depending on the situation. Sasuke nodded. Hi, Hokage-sama. Tsunade nodded. Good luck. Sasuke walked in front of Kakashi, it was one of the few times he was without his book. I don't have much to tell you, just don't die out there, you've already earned some space in here. Kakashi hit his chest with his fist. Sasuke responded the same, with a smile. Sasuke came to the forefront of myth. Does it really have to be you? Can't it be someone else? Everyone has their job, and this is mine, I am the one for this. Mito was silent for a moment. Okay, if Grandma Tsunade trusts you with this, I guess it's okay. Who would have thought that one day you would be worried about me, it's something strange, don't you think? Well, you see, you better come back alive, after 3 years we'll see who kicks whose ass. Mito gently hit Sasuke. Yeah, that's a farewell, that's closer to who you are, it's not so strange anymore. Mito stayed silent for a while longer, but in a quick movement, she grabbed Sasuke's shoulders and pulled him closer to her. She moved her head in another quick movement. Sasuke felt the soft sensation of Mito's lips on his cheek. I doubt what he meant. It was going through a moment, but it was already being confirmed. I hope it goes well for you, try hard. Mito said with a cute blush. Sasuke put his hand on her cheek. Why yes, see you, I changed the farewell of these two lovebirds, I changed some things so that they look better, at least for me, this time, Sasuke versus Menma. They both nodded. Actually I only came to accompany my sister, but on behalf of me and my mother, take care of yourself. Menma gently hit Sasuke's chest. Sure, thanks. Sasuke nodded towards Menma. Sasuke now walked in front of his sister, who was holding back tears, this time she was going to be separated from her brother for quite some time. You have no words to tell me. Kiyomi shook her head. Well, I know of a way you can tell me everything. Sasuke opened his arms. Immediately, Kiyomi entered into her brother's arms, crossing hers over Sasuke's torso. As Sasuke said, he felt everything his sister felt with that hug. It was beautiful for him. That hug said 1,000 I love you and a take good care of yourself. The hug lasted for about a minute until the two separated. Sasuke kissed his sister on the forehead. Finally, he passed in front of Naruto. I guess we'll be in touch. Naruto nodded. Sasuke extended his fist towards him. Naruto returned his fist, but quickly grabbed the arm and pulled him towards him, giving him a tight hug. Sasuke responded after a moment of surprise. I love you too. Sasuke patted Naruto. See you. Naruto said. Sasuke took off and stood a few meters in front of them. See you. Each one responded with a nod. Sasuke turned and started running away from the village. Sasuke Uchiha's S-rank mission begins right now. Tsunade said. Little by little, the people left until only Naruto and Kiyomi remained. Let's go home. Naruto said, hugging Kiyomi with one arm. She just nodded, then disappeared in a flash of silver. A few days passed. Mito and Menma had gone on their trip with Jiraiya. They also had their farewell. Kiyomi this time said goodbye to her best friend, and Menma, Kushina had cried and comically warned them not to get carried away. Both of Jiraiya, Menma had promised his mother that. Tsunade also said goodbye to the Uzumaki twins, and of course, so had the owners of the Ichiraku restaurant, who gave them a large seal made of Naruto stuffed with ramen that would stay warm, fine jutsu things. After Jiraiya left some instructions for Naruto, the Sannin, Mito and Menma left Konoha on a training trip that would make them quite strong. And since Jiraiya had already left and Kiyomi's training was about to begin, it meant that it was time for Naruto to also leave on his own journey. And faster than anyone would have wanted the day came. Naruto was looking at the village from Mount Hokage. Like Sasuke, he decided to go up there before leaving, to see the village from there for the last time in years. Then he flashed towards the Hokage's office. When he was there, he found Tsunade and Sakura at his side. Hello Tsunade. Oba-chan. Hello Sakura. Naruto greeted the two. Hello Naruto, Sakura responded with a smile. I guess I can't stop you from calling me grandma anymore. Tsunade sighed. Do you already know where you're going? First I'm heading to Sunagakure. So, that. There I will learn to control my wind element perfectly, I will learn about the arts of the village, and, furthermore, I have a pending appointment. What kind of quote? Tsunade asked, somewhat intrigued. I'm going to meet Gaara, the village Jinchuriki. I agreed to help him with his seal. I realized that I didn't really help him the time he was here. So you're friends with Suna's Jinchuriki? Charming. Yes. How is Sakura and Kiyomi's training going? Well, they are both doing well at their respective levels. Sakura is just starting out with this medical ninjutsu, but her chakra control is helpful. Kiyomi is more advanced, she learns quickly, she is very good, these 3 years will be great. Naruto could see the emotion in the Hokage's honey eyes, he smiled. I'm glad you're doing well. Tsunade stood up from her chair. The fact that you are here means that you have already decided that it is time. Naruto nodded. I was thinking of leaving at night, my speed with the Shunshin would help me reach Suna in the afternoon of the next day. Yes, after all you will be able to go in the blink of an eye once you mark it. Tsunade said comically. I suppose the two remained silent. Don't tell me you're scared. Tsunade asked. What? Not at all, it's just I'm going to miss seeing them every day. What I'm going to do is very different, I'm going to be somewhat alone. Don't forget that you have that fox by your side. The woman of half a century is right, Kurama spoke in Naruto's mind. And, also, be honest with Jiraiya and his acquaintances, and with Menma and Mito, and don't forget that I will be sending you missions, so you may see yourself with the other teams. I almost forgot about all that, it was what motivated me to take this trip, all the experience I will accumulate in these years will be of great help, really, it is going to feel very long. Oh yes, how can I bear that my dear family is so far from me? Tsunade hugs Naruto lovingly. Are you forgetting what you just said? I have the Hiraishin. Yes, but time doesn't stop, and you must take advantage of it. I don't know how many times I can see you in these 3 years. Tsunade released the hug. She grabbed Naruto's shoulders. Take good care of yourself out there. Are you saying goodbye already? He asked Naruto. It will be easier for me to do it now, so listen to me, pay attention to everything your future teachers tell you. Wise is also the one who knows how to listen, pay attention to the details, the world and nature show beauty, even in the germination of its smallest plant, enjoy the small moments in which you can rest, eat a lot, relax and also. I come back and repeat, rest. Naruto nodded. And, above all, Tsunade continued, cold mind in the face of adversity. Tsunade tapped his finger on Naruto's forehead. Calmness in the midst of the storm is a virtue, of which I see that you are born. I place his hands on his cheeks. You are a Senju, never forget your Konoha family. Tsunade kissed Naruto's forehead. Sure, thank you, Grandma. Naruto hugged Tsunade. Leave that, please. Instead of hitting, Tsunade reciprocated the hug. Well, see you, I guess I'm going to say goodbye to everyone, starting with you, Sakura. Yes. Before you left, I wanted to tell you something. Thank you very much for the words you told me at the ramen restaurant. Really, they were very helpful in deciding what I want to be. When you come back, I want to fight you. Truly, how strong I will become. Sakura clenched her fist and grabbed his arm as a sign of power. Naruto smiled. Surely so, good luck and try hard, bye. Naruto disappeared in a silver flash. Tsunade turned and walked towards her office window, hands behind her back. Good luck, Naruto. Naruto said goodbye to each of his friends, Shikamaru, Choji, some Kiba, Hinata, and a little bit of Niji, Rock Lee, with a little aspirin. Well, basically he said goodbye to each one, until he got to Kiyomi, who was in the hospital, training his medical ninjutsu, healing some people. Naruto appeared behind the Uchiha, who was healing the wounds of a small child. Apparently he had slipped. Kiyomi was healing some scrapes and bruises. The girl had her hair up in a tomato, but some of her locks were escaping, creating a small ponytail. Hello, Kiyomi, Naruto greeted from behind. Oh, hello, Naruto. The girl didn't stop what she was doing, bandaging the boy's hand. I see you're busy. I just wanted to tell you that tonight I'm leaving. I'm finally going to travel, and I think you already know all the details. So are you coming to say goodbye? Kiyomi placed her hands on the boy's knee. A green glow came out of them, while the scratch on the boy's skin began to fade. Do you want to eat a little? I invite. Naruto pointed to the door. Kiyomi turned to look at Naruto. She put on a sad smile. I'm busy. After him comes another, and then to jutsu class with Tsunade-sama. Kiyomi joined his hands. Oh, I see. Well, Kiyomi noticed how Naruto hesitated, showed another cute smile, grabbed Naruto's hands and raised them. I don't know how to sound interesting like you, but I'm going to try. The moment is more special between you and me, without anyone else. Go to the edge of the cliff, and before you fly, I'll be there to see you leave, but not before having told you my words. Naruto caught it, smiled and tapped the girl's forehead with her index and middle fingers. Sounds good to me. Well, I'll go get ready, bye. Naruto disappeared in a silver flash. Kiyomi turned to her patient. I'm sorry about that, are you feeling better now? The girl stood in front of the boy. Yes, thank you, miss. Excellent. By the way, excuse my imprudence, but was that your boyfriend? Kiyomi blushed. And no, he's just my friend, but I still love him very much. Oh, okay, I understand. He's my friend, Kiyomi thought. It was almost night. The sun was slowly setting, staining the sky with the characteristic orange color of twilight, giving way to the dark blue of the night. There was a full moon. Naruto was walking for the last time, right along the path that led to the exit of Konoha. Everything he was going to need was sealed. He had bought a kind of black tunic, with a formal collar and buttons. This one reached almost to the heels. Over time it would grow, and it would no longer reach so low. It's like adult Sasuke's. Once again he had black fingerless gloves, and this time without a metal plate. Underneath him a gray shirt with a normal collar, long sleeves, black pants and his classic black bandages, as if he were in mourning, and his black sneakers. He was walking at a slow pace, as if he didn't want to reach the door, but the opposite was true, he was anxious. Something that made him sad was the fact that he couldn't spend the afternoon with Kiyomi, but she had promised him that they would see each other before he left. Finally he arrived at the door. There were Izumo and Kitetsu, ready to report their departure, one that will be very long. Yo, Naruto. Ready to go? The two were already informed of Naruto's trip. Yes, it's time. Well, good luck. I hope you come back stronger than ever. Izumo encouraged Naruto. Yes, thank you. Each one gave Naruto a slap along with a thumbs up. Naruto left the village, walking towards the forest. He didn't start running right away. He knew that someone was waiting for him ahead. He smiled. Kiyomi's figure was increasingly visible ahead. The girl was also waiting for him with a smile, her hands together. The night wind moved her loose hair, hypnotizing Naruto. Hello, the girl's soft voice greeted Naruto. Hello, so, you're alone? Here I am, I want to hear you. Naruto responded to the girl. Oh Naruto, you are just as special as Sasuke. The girl hugged Naruto. A hug can already say everything I feel. She closed her eyes, feeling the warmth that Naruto's arms gave her, which were now surrounding her. Seemed to protect her from the cold night air. Yes, that's enough, but if you're right, a few words wouldn't be bad. Kiyomi, separated. The fact that you and Sasuke are so far away from me for so long hurts me, but like you, I have to get over it, with the hope that we will meet after 3 years. I just hope that things go well for you, that you learn a lot, that you become strong, that you help my brother. I'll take care of that, don't worry. Well, this will be the last time we see each other for a while. I want you to know that I love you very much and that I'm going to miss you. Kiyomi grabbed Naruto's hands, leaned forward and kissed his cheek. Kiyomi broke away, her eyes glowing red, just like Naruto's. Why did you activate your Sharingan? The girl asked. I don't know, why did you activate yours? Naruto responded with another question. I don't know. Kiyomi closed her eyes. Well, you have to go. Kiyomi's hand traveled to Naruto's cheek, he grabbed her hand, closing his eyes. Kiyomi also closed her eyes, both of them feeling the contact. I just remembered something. Naruto spoke still with his eyes closed. Oh yeah? What is it? Kiyomi didn't open her eyes either. The Sharingan is capable of storing sensations, can you remember? I once felt that way, but there are things I don't want to remember. I know, but it's good to heal those wounds with these moments. It's comforting to know that I'm going to save this moment. It will help me a lot. Kiyomi blushed, the two didn't notice it, their eyes were closed. Naruto finally opened his eyes, lowering his hand next to Kiyomi's. It's time. Yeah. Naruto hit Kiyomi's forehead with his fingers and turned to leave, but the girl grabbed his hand tightly. Naruto turned around, looking at Kiyomi's bright eyes. I'll be back. The girl finally let go of her friend's hand, walking, getting out of Kiyomi's sight. Finally, the girl disappeared in a shunshin. Naruto didn't look back, he looked up at the sky, observing the full moon. The stars were visible due to the lack of artificial light. So, let's start with this. Kurama spoke. We will take advantage of these 3 years to make you the strongest shinobi of all, and we are serious. Yes, that's the goal. Akatsuki is going to have to think twice. Stubborn, I like it. If you don't mind, I'm going to sleep, and you? I'm going to cut the road. I'll sleep a little and we'll arrive quickly tomorrow. Okay, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Good night. Good night. Kurama closed his eyes. Okay, let's go there. Naruto's body blinked and he began to run quickly. Each one to continue on his way. He had left the village, his friends and half his family, but he was sure that he made the right decision. This trip made him promise one thing, he would return, stronger than ever, to continue with his word, to follow his goal, to fulfill your dream. Naruto Uchiha will return. This concludes our story and I trust you enjoyed it. If you're interested in more content from this channel, activate the notification bell to stay updated. I'll see you in my next video. Until then, everyone.